And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara Podcast. Here's Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. And if you're on the other side of the planet, happy Sunday to you. I'm just adjusting my stuff real quick. And so we got some new things to talk about. But before we go there, let me check this out. Hold on. I think this is working properly. Yes, it is. All right, just wanted to make sure I could see the chat. So, if you want to join me, it's very easy. I even put the link, so you can click on the link, it's below, or you can just go to Zoom and click join a meeting, and then it gives you the room ID and password. It's very simple. And we'd all love to hear your stories. So if you want to come in and share your paranormal experiences with us, that would be cool. Excuse me. So I have been in the middle of moving, and my life has been just very hectic. And I'm sure you've all moved at some point in your life, so you just don't know how crazy it is. And so finally, I've got a dedicated room for the podcast. And we're working on it. And Mara's going to be sitting there, but she's making us some chai right now. But she'll be in shortly. And so I'm working on the room. And once I finish the room, I think I might do like a show you, just make a video showing you my studio. I think it'd be really cool once I get it all set up. I don't know, maybe you guys would be interested, maybe not. I would think you might, but we'll see. So I guess we're ready to get going. I mean, we have 30 people in there, and hopefully today will be a really busy evening. Last week was better. 2 weeks ago, people weren't able to get in, and there were some problems, but it's getting, now once I posted the link, I think that helped a lot. So I just realized I didn't have any background music on. It's a little bit better. All right, so let's bring in the first person and see what's going on. Bobby Richardson. See what she's up to. Did I buy a house? Yes, we did, Madiak 1980. My eye is better, Karima, thank you. It's even gotten better enough where I kind of forgot. I just stopped wearing, I stopped putting in the drops. Probably not a good idea, but I just forgot about it. And we've got good old Bobby from Australia. Bobby, how are you?
Hello, Jeff. Good to be here again.
Likewise. Nice to have you. It's winter. We're coming out. Wait, you're in solid winter now down there, right?
Yeah.
Are you in
winter for one more month?
Winter for one more month. You're in Sydney or Melbourne?
No, I'm in Brisbane.
Brisbane. All right.
North.
So it doesn't really get cold there anyways.
Not too cold.
Oh, that's cool. That makes things pleasant.
Yes.
There's really probably not an area in Australia that gets a lot of, gets really cold and gets a lot of snow, right? Like Colorado or something here in the
Yeah, no,
States.
not really. I come from New Zealand actually, so there's a lot more snow over there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The land of the hobbits.
That's true.
I'd like to go and see that Hobbit village. I think that would be
Mm,
awesome.
that would be awesome. Yeah,
Hmm.
I would love to do that too.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, what do you have to share with us this evening?
Okay, so yesterday I got a really profound message, a channel message. I actually published it straight away on my site,
All
but
right,
I
who are
wanted
you?
to share it
Let
with
me
you.
stop you real quick. Who were you channeling when you got that? Who gave you the
So I'm
message?
channeling the Cyanians, and
Cyanians. Who are those?
Cyanians and the Arcturians.
Hmm.
Cyanians are a tall, blue, see-through kind of being that can morph into humanoids,
Hmm.
and they visited me throughout my whole life. And they're very close to oneness, so they can morph in and out of the matrix and go help certain places that need helping to be awoken and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, anyway, I've got a lot about that on my video as well. So if you want to find more, go there.
Well, what can you share with us? Some of the message?
So the message that they gave me was really profound, and I actually got even more of the message this morning, and it was called the color code. So I will read this out to you. But there's also a story that comes with it from my own experience.
Hmm.
So they said to me while I was sitting on the couch, there's a clue to our expansion in the understanding that all colors brought together in the material world become black, and all colors brought together through energy or light become white. And I was like, okay. So I quickly wrote it down. And then I was sitting there and they showed me something that I'd actually gone through, which was back in the early 2000s when I was, because I can see into other frequencies. I can see different beings coming towards me and that. And I woke up one night at a friend's place and I actually got attacked by reptilian energy.
Wow.
And as it was coming close, it was kind of like one of those nightmares where you blink and it keeps coming closer, even though I was telling it to stop. But there was something that came over me. It was like this profound feeling of, I don't know how I'm going to get myself out of this, but I'm going to get myself out of this. And when it put its arm around my neck, trying to put these two pills in my mouth, I pierced my lips and then I just went, I'm going to be fine. And as soon as I did that, it was like all of my chakras went into one ball of light within the center between my sacral and my heart chakra, and it burst out into this white light. So they gave me that story.
Let me stop
And
you
then
there. Let me stop you for
yeah,
1 second. You said that this entity was trying to put pills in your mouth?
yeah.
Oh. Did you actually
So
physically see the entity?
yeah, physically everything, touch, smell, everything. It was,
What
to
did it
me,
smell
it was
like?
not very good. It smelled like dirty socks, like, oh ugh,
Now
like
this was like a reptilian ET, you think?
it would, the energy was, but what it looked like to me was like it was like a mass that was pretending to be humanoid, and it had like this duffel coat on. I know it sounds crazy, but that's
Hmm.
what it was. um and yeah, so I can only tell you exactly what happened to me. But the most important thing is this message that's come through the Cyanians. I really want to share this with
Hmm.
you.
I've
So
never
it's
heard of the Cyanians. Where are they
no,
from?
they are from they are higher energy beings from Pleiades,
Right?
but they reside close to oneness, so they have a more overseeing understanding of everything. And I got given the name in a dream from an actual elder that I've met. And I met her in my dream and she told me I was working with the Cyanians. So I'd already had experiences with them. And they even told me of the fall of the system and all sorts of things. Anyway, we will get into that. That's another story. I can diverse. So I want to get into this channel message more importantly, because it can shift our reality and understanding where we could go to. So this is the channeling. I'm going to start it from the beginning. There is a clue to our expansion in the understanding that all colors brought together in the material world become black, and all colors brought together through energy or light become white. This has to do with our chakras being in balance through acceptance and peace of oneself, which explodes a white light, raising one out of a denser version of reality. As within this denser version of reality, all is in resistance to one another, which is meant to be because it creates a separated world. But if unbalanced, it can also create a fear-based reality within a person who has been programmed to only fear all resistance as the universe being against them. It's not until humanity lets go of the fear that all is against them and sees their reality in a different light, as a separated world of resistance created to allow our souls to occupy a body and go on this journey of living as separated people. Because even within every cell in your body, it has some sort of resistance so that the cell exists and doesn't merge with other cells. Therefore, everything in the material world has to have some sort of resistance to become a physical identity producing limitations. It's only this resistance of the material world, it's only when this resistance of the material world is overshadowed by the mind, that the mind, which is energy, creates the illusion outside oneself that all in separation should be feared, and therefore the reality or experience of the soul goes on this fear-based one. But if we consciously remember that through energy we are light, which is only a physical world with less resistance, giving us an expanded opportunity due to the ability to merge and shift our reality faster, then through peace of oneself all exists as this light or energy, then we can learn to raise our vibration through this peaceful self of self-acceptance, altering our thoughts to ground a new experience, allowing resistance to install the right boundaries without a fear-based scenario overshadowing the mind. In other words, through absolute acceptance of oneself, one can see their resistance and shift them, which in turn shifts their reality. Then we are no longer playing in the blackened material world of resistance. This is why creating peace of one's mind is so important, and why those in charge are trying to create a fear-based scenario to keep you under the illusion that you have no power to shift your story, because under the illusion of fear or too much resistance to this physical world, we can't. So where are you resisting your life? Even if it's through grasping to make something happen faster, because in pushing the universe to react, it will always push back, being that it is only your mere reflection, and you will only end up with more resistance through you not trusting the universe to reflect what you know you deserve. The more resistance, the more limits and boundaries show up, until you feel all your life is darkness surrounding you. The least resistance, the lighter you become as you trust all will gift you what you desire. Resistance has its place, but to shift our reality, we need to accept who we are and where we are, and we are in a physical world of limitations. But to shift it, we have to love or like this part of our journey in order to be shown the path of least resistance.
Well, you're focusing on resistance or the channeled messages, but it's fascinating because we talk a lot about the opposite, which is surrendering, which is the opposite of resistance, right? And a lot of times people, when they surrender to death, they finally have the NDE. So we're saying the same thing, but within different words. And again, it's fascinating. It's all about also, not having
and that's
fear.
what they're doing. They're bringing through all these different ways of looking at things, because what they want us to do is convince our logical mind, which has been having the stronghold on creating our reality, and I want it to stop using that as the way to create our reality, because it can only grab from the past and project into the future. It cannot shift our reality. Only our soul and our imagination and our connection to that can shift through our imagination, our reality. So they keep giving me all these different ways of looking at things, so that one of them might trigger your logical mind into going, I get it. I finally get it. Now I'm going to have least resistance, right? Now I'm not going to be the one that,
Right.
And then you can actually shift your reality.
Sometimes we just need to hear it another way.
That's right.
You know,
yeah.
That's so true. Well, if people want to find out more about this channeling and your other channelings, they can go to your YouTube channel, right?
Yes.
And it's
so that's Bobby the Messenger.
Bobby the Messenger. So if you want to check out our YouTube channel, it's Bobby the Messenger. Is your website also called Bobby the Messenger?
No, that's Codes to a New Reality.
Codes to a New Reality. So there you go. If you want to find out more what Bobby's up to, you can check out those two places. Bobby, thank you so much for hey, and thank you for coming and sharing that channeled message. And when you get more, come back.
Yeah,
Please
no worries. I will.
All right, Bobby. Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday over there.
I will.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And a big round of applause for Bobby. All right, so we're getting settled up here. You can see Mara's finally here. She's at her workstation. There she is. She wants to say hello to everybody. And let's bring in Michael. And I turned, maybe her mic was real low because I never turn that. I saw your messages about turning up the mic. And I was, turning up the mic. And I don't know what's going to happen with the next guest, so we'll have to see. Susanna, hi, thank you so much for that super thanks. We really appreciate it. All right, let's bring in Michael and talk about vampires. Let's see what she has to tell us about vampires today. I was, turning up the mic. I don't know what's going to happen with the next guest, so we'll have to see. Susanna, Michael, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hang on a second. Let me close this noisy.
Yeah, I'm echoing.
Yeah. Now you're not echoing anymore. I got rid of that. And let me get the camera going. Where's that? Oh, there it is. Hi.
Welcome. Now, when are you going? Now, when are you going to show up live with vampire teeth?
Do you know what? I thought of that tonight, earlier. I thought I should show up one day with fangs on, right?
Right.
That would be fun. But I'm not really a vampire in the other world either. I'm just a problem biter, Jeff.
A problem bite? You said a problem biter?
Correct. If you're not a problem, you won't get bitten. Oh, unless you ask me really nicely.
So for those of you that don't know Michael, she's been on before. We've talked about her NDE. She's also an author of books about NDEs in the hidden within the vampire realm. Would that be correct to say that? Vampires having NDEs. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, vampires definitely having NDEs. As a matter of fact, in my version of the vampire, as soon as they are turned, they go into what's called a transition coma. Okay. And they have an NDE. They are cast adrift in a lustrous vast. And then they, in the course of 4 or 5 days, while they're in this transition coma, they go through several lives in other worlds that are lucid. They know that they have this other life where they're languishing in coma. They're aware, and they live all these lives, and they never completely forget. And then when they come back to the life that's been in the transition coma, they're like, okay, all worlds are just dreams, because the dreams in between that they had in the coma were just as convincing as the life they come back to. And this kind of warps their morality, because they realize that if all worlds are dreams, God probably doesn't care anything about what we do in them, because they're just dreams.
Right.
They're just dreams, right?
So are you saying that by your own personal experience, all realms are actually dreams? You're
Yes.
speaking from direct experience.
Yes. Because when I died, I had an NDE at the age of 20 in 1978. That was one of the very first experiences. It was just like waking up from a bad dream, dying. And instantly I was like, wait a minute, body's dead. And I'm still here. So obviously my reality springs from a higher level of reality, my life, my existence. So the world is a dream. It's just a dream, just like every other dream I've had, except for there are dreams out in joint mind space that others are able to access, and other venues that you're able to access in your dreams. And then there are the ones that are in like a spiraling into your own mind space. And those two are accessible because it's really only one. The truth is one consciousness having all these dream experiences. So it's all equally accessible. It's just you have to learn how to navigate it. And I've been learning to do that partially through writing Chalice, which is book 1 of the Vampire Grail Affairs, and Beacon, book 2, which is also up at my website, crackedpotpublications.com. And by October 31st, the third book will launch in that series, and that is Traveler. And that is where we start to get into where my life and my world is interacting with their lives in that world, and there's traveling back and forth between them in lucid, what I like to call imaginifestation.
Could you say that basically we're all vampires in some viewpoint, especially since we are all immortal beings?
Well, I wouldn't say we're vampires, but yes, we're all immortal beings. We cannot die. All we can do is dream that we've died. We dream our bodies die. But hey, guys, cut it out. That being said, no, well, there's a parrot back there going on, pretending to be an old man that I have tied in a chair. And there's a couple of cats over my shoulder fighting. Anyway, since all worlds are dreams, and they exist in mind space, joint mind space, where we can get at them. This really, arguably, you could say this world where I've created this particular kind of vampire is just as real as any other dream. Stories, an author. Let me tell you what happened recently, Jeff.
All right.
The villain of Chalice, the first book, is dead. He is in.
Dead? I mean,
his body is dead. I finally got him out of the venue. Okay, the guy was a real menace in there, and he had a talent that I gave him when I constructed him mindlessly, not realizing what I was doing. I started constructing this character called Old Stewart in 1996 as the ultimate villain. Okay, just completely sociopathic. Well, and now he's in. He went in. He left his body when I finally got it to die. This guy had an opportunity. He could always just go back into his timeline in a life review. He'd go into the lustrous vast, go into his timeline in a life review, and he'd stay in it. So he could come back from the dead. He'd pick a spot in his timeline where he wanted to rejoin the timeline, and he just kept coming back. This is part of the storyline. We're having a hard time getting rid of the guy because he's got this ability that I gave him to just keep coming. And each time he loops back into his time stream, reoccupying the body at a younger state, that intelligence grows stronger in that body. So the guy is like this massive evil genius from looping through time over and over again. Well, finally got him out, and I trapped him in a locker room scenario, a metaphor that I had manifested as a portal. Got him trapped in there and wrote a scene in there where he found himself in there and didn't know how he got there. And other characters from the books were passing through, but he was stuck. He couldn't get out. Okay, I wrote that. I had been going into this portal that I had constructed, this locker room portal, as a manifestation technique for over a year and a half, when I wrote him into that, stuck in that locker room to trap him there. And I went in there, hadn't been in a couple of months, and I went in there, and it, much to my surprise, very vividly, Stuart was there. Now, I'm doing this for me going in there to recreate, because it's like the passageway to another world that I regularly manifest visit, okay? This is very much like astral traveling, actually. It's just lucid astral traveling. And he was in there. He was in that locker room. Spontaneously. I didn't do it. I didn't manifest it. I showed up in there, headed for the stairs. He was already going up the stairs. He felt my eyes land on him. Then he turned around instantly and looked at me and came right back at me like he was trying to intimidate me. But it didn't scare me at all. It just surprised me, okay? Because I've been doing this as an exercise. And here it is acting as though it's animated itself. Okay, and I'm beginning to wonder what I've created. Did I actually create this character now? Have I created him on some level? Do I owe him a karmic debt for creating him, such a twisted soul?
Wow. Let me ask you this. Would you like to be a vampire?
I wouldn't
in the
mind,
way you write them? Maybe,
because my vampires are very, very sexy.
All right.
I mean, they're not like Anne Rice's vampires that they can't biologically reproduce. Not only can they biologically reproduce, they're driven by the virus that made them vampire to reproduce. Okay.
So biting doesn't create another vampire.
Well, it can, but that's not generally the way it works. The way it works is you've already got the genetics to be a vampire, and just like in childhood diabetes, type 1 diabetes, you have to be exposed to a virus, a particular virus, and have the gene that turns you into a diabetic because you've been exposed to the virus. This is the same situation with this version of the vampire. You have to have the genes that respond to the virus, and then in that case, if the vampire bites you and drains you seriously so that your immune system is down, you may turn into a vampire. You may actually, the aging stop, you may go into coma, have the NDE and come back with an appetite for blood. And lots of sex. Okay, in my version of the vampire, Omar is having a good time back there. Anyway,
well, it reminds me a little bit of The Walking Dead, because everybody has the virus ultimately, and then when you die, you automatically turn into a zombie.
Yeah, there's none of that. It's a matter of if you're bit. It's actually the virus itself is carried in the blood, in the saliva, and in the semen. So vampire males tend to spread it through the semen, and vampire females tend to through the blood and the saliva, through the bite. Okay, so but they're particularly libidinous because the virus is, when I say libidinous, horny.
Right. Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, but other people might not, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's what's going on with that. But my whole theory is, if everything is dreams, if it's all dreams, then I may have created something that's a freestanding reality somewhere out there or in the cosmos, because there is no world out there.
All right.
It's like it's all consciousness. and everything is happening in consciousness. So there's no world out there because there's no out. It's all happening in consciousness.
Right.
So it's all accessible, and it's just as real because this is all dreams and consciousness.
Yep.
And that becomes a later theme that comes out more and more in the books.
Now, how many
so
books
there's lots of astral travel.
How many vampire books are there?
There'll be 3 out full, completely this year. There are 6 in this series.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got the 4th book about 60% done. And I'll be working on that, and it'll come out early next year. And then next year, I'll do the other 2 books in the series. 5 is partially written too, and so 6 won't take too bad.
I hope it blows up for you so it will turn into a movie. Have you considered writing it as a screenplay?
There's only so much a woman can do. And if somebody wanted to adapt this, that would be great. But a lot of it is happening at an unspoken level of telepathy, but it's happening inwardly, and it's described. And you know exactly what's going on with people. One of the coolest things about this might be hard to deal with, because what you're doing is, a lot of people call it head hopping, okay, in writing. But that's really holy perception. When you go into a life review, you're not only reviewing yourself, but you're reviewing everybody that was involved in the situation you're reviewing at the same time. So it's like, if I'm reviewing something that happened between me and my mother, I'm not only myself watching it happen, I am actually being the self I was at the same time and being my mother at the same time. So when you're having an NDE, you have the inside skinny on what's going on with everybody's heart and mind.
Right.
And that's the way this book works. It tells you person to person to person to person to person to person how they're each feeling and perceiving, and then you learn holy perception from this and put the whole story together as a collage in your mind. It's like your eyes see individual 2 pictures with each eye your eyes see, and then the brain puts them together in one single cohesive picture. That's what this type of writing teaches you to do. You do that at a higher level, and it actually helps you attain a shift in consciousness that people are after, and they just don't know how to get there.
So you're saying that if they read these books, not only will they be entertained, but they will also get a shift in consciousness.
Yes, they will.
All right.
Okay, this book is actually not, I didn't just write this. This is dictated to me, channeled through a daemon.
So you've channeled this. Okay.
Yes, the whole thing is channeled through a daemon who has the higher perspective that he's lending me in order to design this series of books. So not only is it a really entertaining story, but it also it makes good social comment. It takes on seriously feminist issues about women's autonomy, because all the vampires are trying to control the heroine. And also it will induce a shift more and more away from looking out through your eyes and ears and being immersed in this world and feeling trapped here, and realizing, because you've watched the vampires do it, that you can go inward through an inner world into other realms. This means when you do, in fact, leave your body here and the body dies, you don't have to come back to the earth. You've got another world to go to. You know what's there, and you know how to get there.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't want to come back. Michaela,
No, they really don't.
I need to run, but if they want to find out more about the book, it's on, what is it again? Crackedpot.com?
Cracked Pot Publications. I'm going to put it and a coupon for 25% off.
Nice.
In the chat here. All of your people that see it will be able to use the coupon. If you go to crackedpotpublications.com and you see the books, you'll see 3 books up there right away. Click on each individual big book to go through and read the description and decide if you'd like to give it a test drive.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for coming and sharing with us. Have a
Thank you so
wonderful
much, Jeff.
rest of your weekend, and we'll see you later.
I had a great time. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
All right. Cheers. And a big round of applause for Michaelan. All right, I need to thank some people. Oops, wrong one. Well, we got to figure something out. Unless you want to slide up there. We're still figuring this room out. So we're in the middle of decorating. Forever's Conscious Research Channel. Thank you so much for that super thanks. Excuse me. Thank you, JeffMara, for all the experiencer cases. We appreciate you. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And did I miss another one that I needed to thank before I move on? And Susanna. No, we got that one. All right, so I think that's pretty cool. I'm into vampires. We have to figure out this room. So let's bring in Lisa. Lisa with co-create. I can always zoom in the camera. All right, so let's bring in Lisa with co-create magic. And Aiden's here. I wonder what his voice will be like today. Last time we thought we had an alien here. It was amazing. The power crashed, and then we thought we had an alien with this really low voice, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, let's see, Lisa. Twilight was fun. There she is. Lisa, can you? Oh, wait, she can't hear me yet. Now she
I can hear you.
Now you can. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jeff.
How's it going?
Thank you for having me on. I love your podcast.
Oh,
I
thank
am
you.
obsessed with NDEs. So
Wow.
this is a lot of fun for me.
Well, where are you based out of?
I'm out of Seattle.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah.
amazing weather this time of the year there. Probably about
the summer.
75 degrees.
Yeah, the summers are great, even though we've got a little bit of spitting rain today. Yeah, it's usually gorgeous.
Oh, it's awesome. And do you drink Starbucks every day since it's your local coffee?
I don't. I'm embarrassed to say. No, we make our own at home. So
Isn't there a place also called like Seattle's Best Coffee or something like that?
there is. I believe it's a chain here, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's just one of those things where Seattle can be a little expensive to live in. So it's like,
Mhm.
you do everything from scratch. You make your own food
Yeah.
and you make your own coffee, although Seattle is a great foodie place. So
Yeah.
don't get me wrong there. It's a lot of delicious food.
Yeah. I was there once and I really enjoyed the city. I thought it was an amazing city. That's a place that I'd love to visit again. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
place.
it really is. What I would recommend anybody to do, which is something that I do, my husband and I just returned from Vancouver for a couple of days. And anytime I visit a brand new city, I will
Mhm.
go on a tour. It's kind of like a 3 hour tour where you might have somebody, a driver, take you through, show you the sights so that you can see neighborhoods and understand, some of the history. And then take a foodie tour
Mm.
because then you get an insight as to some of the old restaurants are there, some grandfather clauses that might be in place, the history of the food. Those are two things I always recommend for visiting a brand new city, and it will never disappoint.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I'll have to remember that next time I'm visiting. Well,
Yeah,
what do you
absolutely.
have to share with us today?
Well, I would love to share one of the first stories I love to share with anybody I meet with, and that is I've been intuitive my entire life. And, I had an invisible friend growing up as a little girl, and then we moved out into the country. I lived in Michigan originally. So we moved out of Flint, an engineer for General Motors. And I grew up there in a small town And I was a senior in high school at this time.
Mhm.
And our high school is only like a half mile from our home. And whenever I could, I would walk to school. Otherwise, I'd have to take the bus, and the bus is noisy. And for an introvert, and now recognizing that I'm an empath, I just recognize that I just loved the solitude of walking to school and enjoying nature. Well, I want to talk about instincts and energy,
Mhm.
and even spirit guides and guardian angels. This one day, I wanted to walk to school. And usually I have my trumpet with me and a bunch of books. But because I was unencumbered, I'm like, this is a really good time to take a walk to school. And of course, I love fog. So on this spring day, it was foggy and the sun was doing its best to burn it off. Between our small town and our driveway, the paved road of the street going into town had a gully, right? And there was farmland on both sides. I could see a muddy cornfield off to the left and a big hill on the right with a few trees with mud fields of dried corn stalks beyond the hill if you knew where to look. And for about an eighth of a mile or so, there was a wet shoulder of mud that grew cattails. And I remember many years prior that we used to have major flooding along that road and it would become impassable. And on this day, the gully held tight to the fog, still dense where the sun hadn't peeked over the hill. As I descended the hill, I was ready for the droplets of fog to sprinkle my face and onto my fine hair. Instead, I became short of breath. I felt my heart was being gripped by a long, large, spindly hand. And with each step, it intensified. So I stopped in my tracks. Slowly, I began to walk backwards. And then, of course, I turn around and I hightail it up the hill, back down my quarter-mile long driveway, open the door to the house. And I'm like, Mom, I've decided I'm going to take the bus to school today. And for whatever reason, I didn't know why I needed to tell her this, but I'm just like, okay, let's let Mom know, and then walk back up to the end of the driveway to meet the bus. So the bus comes about 7:30. I jump on the bus, and the bus takes us down the same gully into the fog. It's very, very dense. As we're driving by, I see an abandoned car off to the right. And I'm just kind of looking down at the car, and we just keep right on going. And I head into school. So school was uneventful that day. I returned home from school that afternoon, and when my dad came in from work at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, he always brought the evening paper. And he threw the evening paper on the dinner table, and I look at the headline, and it says, "Woman found murdered in a car abandoned in this small town," the same small town I grew up in. And of course, Mom looks at me, I look at Mom, Dad looks at me, and he's like, "What's going on between you two?" And I had told my mom the story about, this abandoned car. And then, of course, the story takes a 360 turn with my dad bringing home the newspaper, kind of validating everything that I experienced. And my dad at this time always had this disbelief that, why does Lisa know the things that she knows? And I'm like, I don't know why I know. I don't know why I feel or how I have such incredible intuition, but here it is. And at this point, in this case, it saved my life.
Did you have an NDE as a child?
I don't know. I know that my mom told me that I was very sick as a kid. And while I'm obsessed with listening to the folks that you interview about NDEs and so forth, I never considered myself as having one. But my mom also said that I had convulsions and other things. And so I don't know. Now that you've asked me, it just never crossed my mind that I'd actually have one. So what
I
can you tell me, Jeff?
I don't know. You have this ability seeing somebody,
Mhm.
and maybe maybe I feel like NDEs turn on abilities and or gifts for people. So I just wondered if you had some sort of gift
Yeah.
that you were born with, or you acquired it during something happened to you. So who was the being that you saw as a child? Did you ever figure that out? Your invisible friend?
I am still asking questions of new friends that I meet, new friends who are shamans and psychics. And this being, growing up in the 60s, it was interesting because he was very tall and he had horns. And at that time, I'm watching the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. So, of course, I nicknamed him Mr. Bullwinkle. And of course, Mr. Bullwinkle, it was interesting because he would always show up whenever I needed maybe some encouragement, right? And maybe some guidance and protection. And I remember asking him to wear what we call skivvies, right? Underwear, because he would show his man junk. And I'm like, dads don't show their man junk. So I need you to wear skivvies. And so Mr. Bullwinkle wore white boxer shorts with big polka dotted blue polka dots on them. So that was always the family joke. But since, I mean, I've constantly asked new friends, like I said, shamans, and some of them intuit that he was an elemental. Some of them intuit that maybe he was a Sasquatch, that he had a medical bag around him and he was there to help me. So maybe through the convulsions and earlyhood child sickness, maybe he was there to help guide me and, you know, make me better. I still don't know.
You know, it's fascinating as you caught my attention when you used the word intuit. This is kind of a totally random, different subject, but that's the company that makes QuickBooks and Mint and all
Right.
these financial things, but they call it
Hmm.
Intuit. And so when you said
Hmm.
that, I wonder if the creator of that company himself or herself has had some type of an experience.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I've just come out of the spiritual closet about 3 years ago. While I've been intuitive my entire life and I've seen ghosts and I've interacted with energy and things like that. Um, I am now coming out and exploring and understanding it's a whole new paradigm. It's a language I am starting to learn. And as I learned the language and I recognized, oh, well, we used to do that stuff when I was a kid. And now it's common practice, right? For light workers and witches and the rest of us to create these methods and these rituals day in and day out, every morning or every evening. And as I start to uncover some of this language and vocabulary and rituals, I'm going, huh, I wonder if, like you said, that person who founded this company, I wonder if intuition was their base for then creating nomenclature and different brand phraseology and words that that particular company uses to help differentiate themselves in the marketplace. So yeah, it's a good question.
It says co-createmagic.com. That's your
Mhm,
website. And you
mhm,
mentioned the word witches. So
mhm.
what's going on with witches, and and with all of that? And I'm assuming it's about good witches if there's anything to do with that.
So good question. Back when I was 5 and my dad took me to the library, he's like, Lise, you are going to go to the library. We're going to get you a library card and you're going to start to learn to read. I'm like, okay. So we walked down the library, and the first book that I pick out to borrow from the library is a book on witches. And my dad looks at me and he's like, really? You don't want anything else? I'm like, nope, I want this one. Well, of course, the librarian looks over the counter at me and she goes, good decision. And I'm like, thank you. So the entire time, right in the 60s, I grow up with I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, and all the other supernatural shows. Star Trek as well. Love
Yeah.
Star Trek. And then, of course, Next Gen, where you've got Deanna Troy as the empath, right? I really resonated with her. Interestingly enough, right? Love the Harry Potter series, Gryffindor is my house. And 4 years ago, back in 2019, I took a trip with my husband to London. And while he was working with his coworkers on business stuff, I was taking walking tours. So I took a J.K. Rowling walking tour to get inspiration, as she got inspiration for the Harry Potter series. And then also went to the Warner Brothers studio where all the films were filmed 90 minutes north of London. And it was that following week when I decided, you know what? There's something that says I need to really explore this further. And so the following week when we got home, I say to my husband, you know what? We need to go to the local New Age shop and I need to pick up a box of tarot cards. And he's like, oh, okay. Now, he's not spiritually inclined. He's very, very supportive, but he's like, okay, whatever you want. So we get in the car, we get the cards, we're coming back from the shop, and I've got the set of tarot cards in my lap. And I said, well, I guess the universe wants me to do this. And suddenly my whole body lit up from head to toe. It was like I got the goosebumps, but it was all over. It was just so lit up. And it was the feeling was so fantastical. And I said, okay, the universe really does want me to do this. And as I was exploring, henceforth, I started looking at Facebook groups and other things and trying to come up with keywords that I could find groups where I would resonate with. And of course, witch was the first one that came up. And I said, okay, let's look into witches and witchcraft and things like that. Further down the line, maybe 6 months, a year later, I had learned the word light worker. And I'm like, what's a light worker? So I look up what's the difference between witch and light worker. And I'm looking at the compare and contrast list between the two. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm more of a light worker than a witch. So from, that standpoint, it was like, okay, I'll look more into that. Well, moving forward, Jeff, between those two, now I'm learning about shamanism, and shamanism being a practice. And as I get to know my angels and my ancestors and talking with them on a daily basis and considering moving into the shamanistic path, suddenly my ancestors are like, yes, because you've been a shaman in your past lives. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess we're doing this. So that's kind of the path that I'm taking now as I continue to evolve and explore and remember.
That's great. So do you have a YouTube channel?
I do.
What is it?
It's Co-Create Magic with Lisa. Co-Create Magic with a CK.
What kind of content are you posting there?
Right now, I am posting a mix of personal stories as well as business advice, because right now what I'm doing, having coming out of the closet the last 3 years, I want to work with any mystic, right, who calls themselves either a witch or a light worker or anything else in that paradigm, because I want to be able to work with them and share myself that is 100% me. Because when I worked with other clients in the past, I couldn't share my intuition. But now when I say, you know what, I've got this hit, and they'll stop, they'll listen and say, okay, what are you going to channel for me? Or what kind of intuition, what kind of hit did you get from your ancestors and your guides? People are ready to listen because now I can share all of me. So it's going to be a mix of both, because as I walk this path and I learn more things about myself and the experiences, I want to share those. And that is something that my spirit guides keep telling me, share these stories because other people will see themselves in it as well.
Do you have a website as well?
I do.
What's that?
By the same name. Thank you. By
CoCreateMagic.com. I should have known that.
Exactly. Yep. Trying to keep it consistent.
All right. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. We really appreciate you, and we wish you success at whatever you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Have a great day.
Thank you. I got to run.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And hit remove and hit that and hit don't report. And a big round of applause for Lisa. So that was cool. I had one guest probably at least 2 years ago And I think it was titled, the video was titled like a good religious girl becomes a witch or something. And this is like in the beginning, you know. And it didn't go over very well. But I would be open to having another witch on again if you guys would like it. Because I like all kinds of paranormal, you know, subjects and things to talk about. So maybe in the chat you can say yes or no for witches. And if it's an overwhelming response that you guys want to see witches, I'll look into it the next time someone either reaches out to me or something pops up. And on that note, let's go into Aiden. Let's get, excuse me, Aiden here. Aiden LLC. He's a limited liability corporation. Hopefully it's going to be working properly today. Aiden, are you there? Uh-oh. It's again. That's so weird. That is weird. That was our alien voice last week. If you missed it, his video wasn't coming in, but we just heard that voice and we were thinking maybe we've got a real live ET finally with us. But no, he is not an ET. Maybe he is an ET. But I don't think so. I think it's just that his audio is just there. Get out of my way. I'm going to bingo. Oh, that's cool. Bingo's fun. Well, Aiden, I don't know what to say. You know, you've been on twice before and we had no problem whatsoever. So you're going to have to troubleshoot your system and figure out what happened. All right. Well, Aiden, I'm going to run then, bud. Maybe you should try Zooming with your friends or something if you know anybody and you can troubleshoot it. But there's some kind of audio lag or something. I don't even know how to explain how that would happen. It would... Yeah. I'm not good at reading lips. I can't help you, bud. All right, Aiden. We'll see you later, bud. Take care. And we'll give him a round of applause anyways for his effort. Boy, that was a bummer. It wasn't working again. So I think I saw something that you guys might be interested in. Yes, I want to see witches. Let's go back here. What you guys said about it. Yes for warlocks. Human transition is a hellspawn. It's the alien. I don't think you wish. I want to see witches. I'm down with LOL. Yes for witches. Another one. Demonic manifesting. Hi, John Scott. Oh, John Scott's here. Maybe we can talk John Scott into coming today. We can see what he's up to. So we've had a few that are okay with witches. I haven't seen anybody say no to witches. So, I guess we're okay on that then. All right, well, let's bring in Jacob and see what Jacob's up to. And Mika decided to show up too. She is here to hang out with us. Jacob. Hello, Jacob.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm a bit nervous.
There's nothing to be nervous about. It's just you and me and a couple of our friends here.
Yeah.
And Mika the dog. So maybe just look at Mika and then that'll relax you.
I'm gonna close out the YouTube here, getting some feedback here. Okay.
So where are you zooming from?
Tokyo, Japan.
Tokyo, Japan. Wow, that is awesome. What are you doing over there?
Well, I've sort of come to a point to where I'm just committing as much as I can to my spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on it for a long time. I'm trying to condense things down as quick as I can, because I have thousands of things that to share. And
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to a lot of your videos.
Well, you don't have to. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you can come more than once, so you don't have
Okay.
to. You don't have
Yeah.
to convince it. We can talk about something today, and you come back next week and talk again. What time
let
is
me
it
give
over
you,
there, by the way?
It's 10 in the morning.
10 in the morning. All right, nice.
Yeah.
So you're from Tokyo. You're over
yeah.
there. What are you on a personal spiritual journey, or you've had a lot of things happen to you? Or both?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess numerology number 11. I'm not sure if you're into numerology or not.
Well,
but
we talk about it here. I've had like 2 or
yeah,
3
it's a master
numerologists.
number. Basically, it means that you are in graduate school in this incarnation. In fact, I didn't even think. So to give you the kind of overview here, that I never really was. I was born into a Jehovah's Witness family, and I was never exposed to anything outside of the church. I never even had any friends.
Okay.
So I never dare read anything about the occult or things that are spiritual outside of the Bible, because it was forbidden. So through dreams, I just always had these really intense dreams, which they're kind of visions. Starting from around 17, had a lot of these. And then through these dreams, I would constantly ask myself, ask in these so-called dreams, I would ask these dream characters, because I thought they were just dream characters. I didn't realize till now, I realized actually it's just it's your soul experiencing different, it's going out and venturing and doing its own thing, different part of consciousness kind of venturing out. And so I would ask it questions, and they would give me answers, and I would ask more questions. Okay, prove it, do this, do that, and I would get information. And then more things started happening. I would go to school, and I would all of a sudden have this urge to tell somebody next to me, "Do you know somebody named by this name?" I said, "Sorry, I'm not even sure what I'm saying, but do you know this name? This person is trying to contact you, I think." And they said, "How do you know? Like, are you friends with this person? I haven't talked to him in like 20 years." And I said, "No, I don't know what I'm saying right now. It's like coming through me." So it was my first experience of sort of a kind of like an immediate channel. I didn't even know about channeling. And actually, I started writing, and here's my black book. I always like to prove people there's evidence. I don't just talk stuff. This is all evidence for about 20 years worth of self-inner engineering investigation. It's all date and timestamped. I date timestamp everything. I thought it was very important from the very beginning to date, timestamp everything. So here, it's called History of Dreams. Hold on. I'm not going to zoom very well.
Yeah, it's not. Maybe you need to pull back or something. There you go.
Here you go. Here, I'll put it in front of me here like that. Okay.
So this is like your personal journal, but it's a little more technical.
It started here. I filled it up, and then I just moved to digital because I had so many. I didn't want to have all these books around. I wanted to be saved on digitally somehow. This is an 4:45 a.m. Had my first experience. And then I first came into the idea about I never heard about reincarnation. I first came into it actually through my own dream. So my first experience with reincarnation was written down. And it was like I didn't even call it reincarnation. I just called it like I had some kind of like life. So it's like when you die, you have two choices. I was like, what? It says the truth behind life's big mysteries. You're presented with two options: either choose a new body with no memory of your past life, or stay in afterlife form. See, I don't even know what they call it. I just all just fresh to on my mind, trying to explain it. Stay in afterlife form and retain all your memories. But if you do, everything becomes kind of flat, it says, because you actually have no negative memories. Like you can see them, but you can't like, it's like you don't experience the negative somehow. It's like when you're, I guess, but after learning about more stuff, I guess that they call that basically like base reality, heaven, whatever you want to call it, basically outside this realm, you're basically in a field of love or a field of positive energy. You can, outside this realm, go into lower astrals and things like that. But I'm talking about the higher echelons, higher parts of the different parts of the beta dimensions, higher dimensions, is where you really don't experience a lot of a negative emotion. I guess you have to kind of leave that at the gate or something before you transition over. I guess is what I'm kind of piecing this together based on all my stuff. But I have things like that. I also have inventions. I'm trying to show you just some different stuff here. Inventions. The thing is, these inventions, they may not be in our particular timeline. They could be in parallel timelines, because it's like when I'm venturing outside my body, I'm in different timelines too, right? And I've been in crazy different times, but it doesn't mean it's past or the present. It's all just one point in time, right? So who knows exactly? It's just like their timeline, and their dates could be any date. If the date is like, I have one here, like 30,040, but that could be, you know, who knows? It's all relative.
You know, I just
But
I just had 2 NDEs recently. I think they were this week, and they both of those people felt like they, instead of dying and come back, they jumped timelines or something like that. They had a quantum jump. So it's fascinating that you appear to be experiencing the same thing.
Yeah,
in some
I've
sort of way.
experienced hundreds of different past lives. I call them parallel lives. It's not past, because there is no past. It's all past, present, future at one point in time. So it's really just a parallel experience, and those experiences can have any particular date they want. It's just whatever is relative to their timeline. But I also get lots of information, things like inventions, and also like this one is dated date unknown, but it's like a little after 2013. It looks like 2014, where I was first time experiencing being able to learn from a parallel self. Basically, I was able, because I started getting so used to being able to get outside my body, and being into a parallel self. Basically, like, so this Jacob here, I explain it is like, everything is infinite. Everything is infinite. This physical world is a illusion of a compressed, decohered particle of the wave function. So if the quantum is a wave function, it's a wave, like, you know, light is a wave in a particle. If light is a wave in a particle, think of that as the analogy for this here is the particle of the wave. But we are still a wave, but we're in particle form. And so in this particle form, which means it's still infinite, is that this particle has infinite set. It's an infinite set. So for example, you can have an infinite set of red apples, an infinite set of green apples, infinite set of yellow apples, right? And so think of you as being like a red apple, like you're a red apple, I'm a green apple. And I have infinite, let's say I'm green, I have infinite greens. That means I have infinite ego Jacobs in this incarnation, infinite ego Jacobs. And
do you believe you have infinite timelines as well?
Yes, I believe you can't get outside the idea of infinite. I think infinite is baked into I think everything is infinite. So everything is just an illusion. So you think it's separate. It's just one part of like this infinite set that you're looking at. So like this ego Jacob is an infinite set of Jacobs. This where you're talking right now is just, there's a different timeline where I didn't actually come on this podcast. I didn't actually sign up. There's also that one is split a little bit, but there's ones where it's completely split, like different life paths completely for this ego. And I've been able to kind of tap into different Jacobs that are really out there in different parts, like different ends of the spectrum, and be able to learn from them by observing them. So I could observe. I first observe in third person view. Like I first realized I'm in this set's realm. I'm observing a part of my ego infinite set. And once I realized that, I have the intention of saying, I want to merge with that part of that ego set and actually learn as if I was learning, because it's still me. So I merged that part of the set, these two parts, these two apples over here and here, and I put it into one so I could actually learn how it learned. And I started getting I started writing everything down. Here's some, like, I never learned 3D programming and mathematics. I'm not bad at math, but I started getting all these formulas, and I have them written down here.
How do you enter these timelines? Is this in the dream state or what?
I hate to call these words dream states, because it's not a dream. Dreams are really, it's just a different type of state of consciousness. So I in the beginning I was first just having so-called dreams where I would just like, oh, this is a dream, and like, they got more and more intense. And as the years got on, I kept doing it for so long that it became sort of second nature to be able to kind of just have the intention of I want to do something, and then I just kind of transition to a timeline, or like I might say I want to experience a parallel life, and I'll go to a parallel life. I want to experience an invention, I'll see an invention. I might want to experience a near future vision, I'll experience that. Let me here's an invention example. Invention, more like, that's not an invention, but here's an actual invention. This is more like information of learning. Here, an invention of I learned what a future game handheld looks like, possibly in the near future. Let me share with that. It was created, I guess, in this one, Apple is the designer or the creator of it. I guess Apple becomes the future of game handhelds, and the reason by that is they had, I guess they had this for particular design of the handheld. Here, I'll just explain it. I'll share it with you, but here is that it can stretch and it can morph into anything. The controls on it. One second, sorry. Here, it is dated 7/19/2020, 5 a.m. Okay, let me. If I can get up here, I'll get up like this.
I can see it looks like kind of like a video game controller or something.
Okay, so when it's off, it's completely blank. When it's on, this thing can pull out, and there's actually no controls. The controls are actually configurable automatic underneath this kind of like silicone skin. So the controls would just pop up through it, and like the skin over like this. So it just like create a control like that, and then when it's off, it's gone. So it like press through the silicone, so like so you can have any kind of like a directional pad, different kinds of buttons, any configuration you want, because it's so every game can have a custom configuration. And games are slotted in on the side. It has the Apple logo on it. And I didn't realize until I look up. Maybe it's you put it vertically because that's how you get the smallest amount of dimensional width. That's an example of an invention. I have the most recent one here about future vision. I'll give you a near vision.
That'll be cool. Yeah, that'd be great to hear what you've seen in the future.
Okay, yeah. So I received the following after giving my higher self and guides an ultimatum. So I was getting really kind of fed up with all these visions over all these years, thousands of them. I didn't know what my purpose is. I was like, what's the purpose of this? I know I'm sort of a spiritual person. Maybe I'm becoming an ascended master or whatnot, but I just don't know what my purpose is. Just to share this stuff, but like I need something more specific. I felt like I was not be giving, real specific direction. I received too many far-ranging experiences and information showing me everything, right? The whole blueprint on everything, including countless like side stories and different things. I didn't know what was important. And so that night, my higher self, or possibly guides, who knows how many entities are working together, right? I received the viewer machine is created in the year 2447, which allows humans to send their consciousness into physical replicas of the person anywhere in the universe. The replicas are created on the other side of the viewer. The information to build the replica of a person is sent and built on the other side. Then the person's consciousness is then sent and linked to that replica. When the replica dies, the connection is lost and the person then wakes up. This allows for pseudo-experiencing other worlds, living and communicating with aliens and exploring the universe. These machines are able to be sent into black holes with instructions on how to self-create the viewer machines on other planets. I was shown the viewer machines what they look like for local planetary and solar system transport. Viewer machines are in the ground for local transport. And there's like sort of like, think of like a sewer drain on the ground, but it's clear, and then beneath it is just flat, but beneath it is a bubble or a sphere, and has mathematical branchways pathing out of it, and there's a quantum filament in the center. Both locations across space and time are linked via quantum entanglement. The information to build the replica is sent via light to the entangled side. The light wave containing all the information to build the replica decoheres or collapses from a wave to a particle to create the physical replica. Consciousness is then linked to the replica by triggering a gamma frequency state and expanding one's energy into the other replica via brainwave controllers that monitor and sustain the connection. I guess spheres are apparently the most effective geometry in existence for quantum functions. And there's a bit of background context that was given about this time as well. Which is AI in the United States is completely controlled by China. Most of the American freedoms are outsourced. Not sure what that means, but America was sold to multiple countries in pieces, like a child company with many parent companies.
Well, that's fascinating, especially about when you said about the sphere, because, orbs, people see orbs and they're spheres.
And I mean, so I write all this stuff down. I don't question anything. I just write it all down. Then when I wake up, I kind of rethink about like, oh, what does that mean? Then I kind of piece things together from the other experiences, and it's like it's all makes so much everything. There's no gaps in any of this stuff. Everything connects to each other. Everything
Have
connects to
you
each other.
have you got any future messages that have come to pass?
Um, One will be coming to. Looks like it'll be coming to pass. So I have this date and time stamped. It looks like it's coming to pass right now,
Okay.
soon. Which is it's on my YouTube channel. You can check it out too. I just started that up. But basically, I share it in the channel so you can check it out. But I had a vision in 2008 or I think 2008, 7 or 8, that in the 2020s, it says in the 2020s, 2030, that range, that 10 years, we're going to see America turn basically become an independent republic where states started to branch off from the main government, like the main like federal government. Like it's not the United States, it's more like just states of America, not United States.
So
You have
individual states will become individual countries?
well, I guess independent, like it's still America, but it's an independent state of the Americas. It's like the Americas states. And you'll have some states that are more like you have 5 states where like a coalition of like 5 states, and maybe they are, who knows what they are, but there's states slowly start to branch off and like from the main United States, become an independent, like not using their currency and not following the federal laws. They have their own state laws, and basically become an independent republic. And more states start to follow after that. And so I have that in 2008 and have it written down. So people can say, well, is it really? Like, yeah, it's written down. You can carve and date this thing if you want. But so that's one that's coming to pass. Starts to look like, because I started to see like Florida now and other states are thinking about like Florida's like thinking about using Bitcoin and not, so that already means not wanting to use the dollar. And so everybody's starting to see some Texas too, maybe might want to branch off. I mean, states are already starting to think about that, which makes 2020. So this is about the range that it was predicted.
Interesting. Yeah, I've read about how Northern California and Southern Oregon want to create their own state.
Also in here too, it says that I have to find it from memory here, looking for it. And it says it's at the same time, the background information on it was slowly our morals would be removed. It says that our morals would somehow our morals would be diminished or removed, so that we have a less, basically, like it was like we have a less focus on love and more focus on like superficial things and ego. It was like our morals were being taken away. And also it was also a huge rise of AI. And it's like, this is all in here, and it's all happening in 2020s.
That's cool. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for coming and sharing. I've got to run to the next person.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
it's okay. But I hope you can come back next week.
Great. Can I share my channel if they want to look up?
Yeah, of course. What's your YouTube channel?
It's a Ultra Deep Blue. One word.
Ultra Deep Blue. All right. Do you have a website as well?
No, just that for now.
All right. Ultra Deep Blue. If you want to see more about what Jacob's posting out there, check it out.
Right.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, bud.
Thanks.
Bye. All right. And a big round of applause for Jacob. I didn't have to remove him. He already removed himself. Oops, and there's an extra applause. All right, there was somebody here as I was looking. I was going to pop to the next guest, and I guess the guest left. While we're waiting, maybe this person will come back or somebody else will join. And if you want to join, it's real easy. In the description below, you can either use the link, or you can go to Zoom and you can click join a meeting, and then there's the room ID and the passcode. And the passcode is case sensitive, so be careful with that. Also, there's a link to our Facebook page if you want to link up with that. There's actually my personal Facebook profile. You're welcome to friend me. I'm accepting as many friends. I think it's 5,000 till it's over, so you can be one of them. Ah, she's back. Conscious Collie. I remember seeing her. So my last name is Reynolds. My beloved wife is Mara. So for those of you who don't realize, the JeffMara podcast is Jeff and Mara. And I'm the face and she's the editor. And so that's what's going on. So if you won't be confused as well, if you've been curious about it. And let's bring Collie in. I was trying to turn on this fan in here. Oh, that's the light. Maybe one of those other switches, or this one over there. Are they both on?
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey,
I hear you.
geez,
I hear you. I just don't see you
you
yet.
can't see me? Okay.
There you
Hey,
are. All
sorry, it's kind of
right.
dark.
That's okay.
I didn't actually think I was gonna get through.
I'm glad you made it. 1 second. If you guys, I had to turn on my ceiling fan because it's hot in here. If you hear it and it's annoying, let me know. I'll turn it off. Collie, where are you from zooming from today?
I'm calling from zooming from Toronto, Ontario, in
Toronto.
Canada.
Oh, nice. It's weird is, and I talked to the guest about this, is that sometimes I'll get a bunch of guests from a certain region. And I remember for a while I was getting a ton of Canadians. So it's
Oh
nice to
wow,
have
wow.
another Canadian coming and representing again.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
To
I
be
hear
honest,
Toronto's a great city. Do you like it?
uh, there's mixed feelings about it. It was
Mixed
a
feeling.
great city.
It was a
Yeah.
great city. Oh,
Just with all the, well, I don't like follow what's going on really too much, but
hmm
there's a vibe.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, what do you have to share with us tonight?
Well, it's interesting. I didn't know what it was about. I just saw the live stream. I just saw to join the Zoom meeting. But
hmm
for me personally, I've had a lot of experiences that are hard to explain.
hmm
Seeing lights, specks of white light,
Like
I
orbs or like UFO
orbs,
lights?
orbs for
Orbs.
sure, orbs.
Are you seeing them
Um,
like in your house or outdoors?
pretty much everywhere I go,
Everywhere. How often are you seeing these orbs?
quite often actually. If it's
Hmm.
not a daily thing, it's every
Daily.
other day.
What precipitated your being able to do this?
So truthfully, I think it comes from my mother. She was always quite intuitive.
hmm
Um, she told me an experience where she was coming close to death and she was in the hospital and she saw Jesus and a bunch of kids outside of her window in a tree. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I don't know like how much truth is behind that, but since then, um, growing up, I've always saw anomalies. And where it really came to be was the passing of my father.
Hmm.
I was going to school in Quebec, and I was in class when my dad passed.
Hmm.
So I had to take a bus from Sherbrooke to Quebec, and then take a plane from Montreal to Toronto. And when I was on the plane, I saw this star. It looked like a star, but it was like a golden humanoid figure outside my window. I was thinking that's kind of strange. I don't think you can see stars out your window. So anyway, I didn't put too much thought into it. Got home, a lot of family was over, did the normal thing and of grieving, and I gave my room up to my cousin upstairs. So I slept on the couch, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and this big bright light came in the room, and then my dad's face appeared,
Cool.
and then he winked at me, and he turned into that gold star that I saw outside my window and went out the window. And so I was like, okay, there's some truth behind there.
hmm
I haven't really seen something so powerful. So we buried him on February the 7th. And in Canada here, February 7th is pretty cold.
I bet.
And so we did the whole ceremony, uh, put the dirt on where he was buried, and we put flowers on top. And after we put the last bit of flowers on top, it turned tropical hot for like 2 minutes. Tropical breeze, the sun and the moon was out. It's just like, okay, am I the only one experiencing this? And when I looked up, all my other family members were looking around like, what's going on? So that was the journey of my personal awakening. It just heightened everything up for me.
Sounds like your father was a pretty powerful being to be able to reach out to you and connect with you guys. And he
Very
letting
much
you
so.
know that he's still there, and maybe it was his way of saying, I'll see you later.
100%. And it's been true ever since. Like, I find dimes on the ground. I'm sure people do. Just as it's kind of interesting. I found saw a dime today. I was just wondering, like, what did that mean? But
by the way, sorry to interrupt you, but someone was asking, what is your name? Because I see Collie.
Oh, okay. So my name is Andrew, but my last name is Collymore.
Collymore. Oh, okay. So
yeah. I'm a Reiki master. And I love writing poetry. So
cool. That's awesome.
I can share a poem if you guys want to hear it.
Let's hear one.
Okay.
You got one written about something paranormal?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. It's kind of deep, but vile in nature, crude in spirit. The rift between ignorance mixed with belligerence keeps insight irrelevant. Walking like zombies controlled by a source unknown to the rest, tied down by making the present stress by the depression that is relentless. Trying to move forward, but we're feet in cement, stuck. In a rut it may seem, but can be chiseled out with a dream. For so it seems many have trouble and are unable to live in peace. Where's the love that many try and seek? So I do speak from experience, but I'm a small island surrounded by the waves. I crash into my beach, but still afloat. I share with you in this speech that if we put aside the tendencies that devour the souls of many, in unison we can never peak, always rising for a better tomorrow, subsiding the world's grief. But I'm only one man that chooses to speak this knowledge. I'm far from a pastor, or nor do I preach. I'm just speaking with a passion inside of me to extinguish this tainted society. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. It was awesome. I know you can't hear the applause, but you'll hear it when you go back and listen. But that was fantastic. That was great. Very talented.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's great. Well, that's cool. So you said you had a YouTube channel? Or did you say that?
No, I did not. But I do have one, and it's just with my poems. It's just Conscious Collie.
Awesome. Okay. So you're reciting your poetry there?
Yes. I actually should be doing a lot more than that, but
well, there's
I feel
always
like this
time.
is a start.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have a website too, or are you planning to publish your poetry in a book?
I am planning to publish it in a book. It's in the works.
Great.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, Conscious Collie, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us, bud. It was nice meeting you, and don't be a stranger. Come back and see us again.
Yes, honestly, thank you very much for this opportunity. Just to share with like-mindeds. I really appreciate that.
That's great. All right, take care, bud.
Yeah, you too, brother.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we'll give him another round of applause. Dunk report. All right, we're still setting up stuff here, so sorry about the interruptions, but like I said, for those of you who are here, we moved recently. This is our new dedicated podcast room, and we haven't completely set it up yet. We're in the middle of doing it, and so it's like, you wouldn't say on the job training, but we're doing it on the fly, I guess. All right, so let's bring in Melissa and see what Melissa has to share with us tonight. she's on. Melissa, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hey, Melissa, how's it going?
Oh my goodness, I'm here.
You're here. Have you been
It's
on
so-
before? Have you been here
No,
before?
I've been on forever.
Oh, I thought you look familiar. I thought you'd been here before. So where are you streaming from?
I'm streaming from North Carolina,
What part?
Raleigh area.
Oh,
Small
Raleigh.
town.
All right, nice. It's all. It looks like you're outside.
I am outside.
It's already
because I
dark
have
there.
Teenagers that are very loud in the house,
Uh-oh.
and it wouldn't.
They're in there gaming.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Well, what do you have to share with us this evening?
So, I have a couple things I want to share. One thing is, I want to share an experience that I had November 1st, 2022.
Okay.
Last year.
Not too long ago.
I know the date because I was watching a video of this guy. He was on a journey of self-healing. He did like a 7-day in a dark room. I forget what it's called, but he was in, I think, Germany. He went for 7 days in a dark room.
Wow.
Just to kind of get in touch with himself. So I watched that recording, and he had to send me an email in order to join, in order to watch it.
Was he live streaming the entire 7 days?
No, it wasn't live streamed, but in order to watch it, it was like a short movie, kind of. But yeah, but I still had to go through my email to watch it.
Wow.
I want to back up a second though.
Right. Well, I want to say this real quick. Let me interrupt you real quick, and I'm so sorry for doing so. I had a guest once. She went to a meditation resort in, I think, Indonesia, and it was 7 days of complete darkness.
That's exactly what he did.
Kind of like what you said. And I've been thinking about that lately, because she said for the first 2 or 3 days, she almost slept the entire time. She was like in sleep deficit so badly that she just found herself. Did this person sleep like at least for 24 hours or anything like that?
So he didn't sleep the first, actually, no, because the third day was what put me in my experience while I was watching it. Or his third day.
Just watching it made you have an experience.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I want to tell everyone, I had a basketball mass in my stomach. It was about this size. And it was in my stomach for almost a year and a half. It got so bad, I thought I was going to die. I didn't just think it, I felt it. I couldn't get out of bed for weeks. Like you were able to physically see it in my stomach if I laid on my side, if I moved. The mere touch of touching me, like my 5-year-old, when he runs at me full force, I would scream and cry because of the pain I was in. And I was in that pain for a very long time. I didn't have medical insurance, so I suffered. I had lost my job. My husband was the only one working. This afternoon, I was in my living room, and my 5-year-old was on his phone watching something on the other side of the couch, and I was looking at him, and I was just thinking, I don't want to die and leave him here. Sorry. So I was already on my phone, and this guy's ad popped up in my Facebook feed. It was very, it was encouraging, uplifting. I didn't really think of anything or expect anything. So I watched it, and my son's phone was loud to where I really wanted to focus more. So I said, let me just go in my room and, just kind of relax on my bed. And I was still in a lot of pain, and it took me a lot of energy just to walk to my room from my couch. So I laid down, and I'm watching his, this thing. And in his third day, I'm really just looking at the pitch blackness that he's watching. Close the door, honey. And but he's doing like he's making a sound like with the back of his throat, and it relaxed me so much. I didn't fall asleep. It just relaxed me. And all of a sudden, in that same moment, everything turned white in my room, and my bed started vibrating. I didn't close my eyes, but somebody closed my eyes. And I can sense someone was there, but I couldn't see them. And while this is happening, I can hear my son's phone, the game, what he's playing. Like, I can still hear it.
Right.
And then I say, is that a hand?
You're
And a male voice, in like a movie, like an action movie, where then I have to come in. Hello.
Can you repeat that? You
froze?
Yeah, you were frozen on us. We missed some good stuff there. I think you were laying on your. The last I heard was you were laying on your bed and you heard your son's playing games on his phone.
Okay. Yeah. So my eyes closed, and I didn't close my eyes, but somebody closed them, and I can just see this. It was just white, not like a cloud, but you have like if you lay in darkness in your room, and then my son might turn on a flashlight, and you can see the light, but your eyes are closed. That's how bright it was over me.
Like you were in a cloud?
At this time. Not like a cloud. It was just of this white light. But it was so bright. Like it was just on. I'm sorry?
Was it so bright, but it didn't hurt your eyes?
So it didn't hurt my eyes at all. It didn't hurt me. And it was comforting, but it was alarming as well, because I didn't know what was going on. But I didn't feel scared, even though I thought that I was scared. The feeling didn't come over my body. It was just the thought, and then I seen a hand, and I was like, oh, there's a hand here. And I said, I'm afraid. And a male voice says, don't be afraid, Melissa, take my hand. I can't see him, but he sounded like far up. Like if he was yelling out of a helicopter in one of those action movies, you know, when I don't know, I guess when the army is, coming to pick up, do a sweep or something and pick up their guys that are left. And they're like, come on, let's go. Like that's how he sounded, far, and it was loud, except I didn't hear the helicopter itself. That's just how it sounded from him. And as soon as I grabbed his hand, which I can feel, but I couldn't see, I was in another room of light, but now I'm laying down on something, and I can hear this woman, this female, she's talking to me, but in an entirely different language that I've never heard. And I'm originally from New York City, let me say.
I was gonna say something. You don't sound like you're from North Carolina.
No, my husband is. Yeah, and I went to ECU, so that's, many years ago. But yeah, my husband's from down here. But I grew up around many cultures of many, different backgrounds and all over the world. And I've heard, if not, most of, people's dialects growing up, even in school. I never heard that. I've never heard no one, I couldn't tell you what she was, I couldn't even compare it to something. And then it felt like a second later, it felt like maybe a minute later, another female says, all right, Melissa, it's time to go. And now I don't want to say back in my body, because even though I was somewhere else, I was back in my body. And I was like, oh, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. I still can hear my son's phone in the living room the entire time. And so I'm in, I don't know, that's the only way I can really explain it. Like, so I'm back in my body, or I'm back on my bed, but now my body's vibrating severely from head to toe, from my toes to my fingers. And it's vibrating physically, not just, this is not out of body anymore. This is physically, my body's vibrating. And now I can taste and smell radiation to the point where I know this amount of radiation probably shouldn't have been done on someone at one time. That's how heavy it was. And I got this really quick flash of nausea. Like, I was so nauseous on top of me, and to the point where I thought I was going to throw up my entire life, like right on my bed. But I couldn't move because I was violently vibrating physically.
That was without your conscious control.
Yes, this had nothing to do with me whatsoever.
When you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you say you smelled radiation, would you feel like that was like the smell of burnt flesh or something?
No. So because I was so sick for a long time, I've tried radiation before, and there's just this smell. Like, anyone that I'm sure, I don't know what to really compare it to. There's just, you can taste it. I don't know. You can feel it. You can feel the radiation on your body. And the radiation was coming out of every pore and cell of my entire being while my body was vibrating. And the blue dye, like if you go get a CAT scan, there's, sometimes they give you blue dye, and it warms you from head to toe. And females know, you can feel it. It'll make you feel like you have to pee for females. And it's really warm. And that blue dye makes me sick every time because I was already sick, very sickly. So that's something I couldn't handle because I just threw up all the time behind it.
Right.
And I felt that as well. The blue dye, I felt the blue dye, like it went through me as if somebody put that in my body, as if I was receiving that blue dye in my body.
Right.
And all of that happened while I was on the bed, and maybe 10 minutes. It took me 10 minutes, and my eyes are still closed only because I can't open them. I tried, but the way my body was vibrating, I couldn't. It wouldn't allow me to open my eyes. I wasn't asleep. It wasn't like, I was trying to wake up or anything. No, I knew I was right here. I knew I was very aware, like I was when I was watching the guy, the short movie he made.
Were you afraid?
No. So the thought came in my mind, but I didn't feel any fear. There was a couple thoughts that came in my mind. One was, oh my God. Like, I knew I've been watching all your NDEs. I don't know, since I found you.
Thank you.
And I've been obsessed with them. Because they were very encouraging for me, and another channel that I watch, especially during those times in my life. Like, I knew that I wasn't going to give up hope. I knew that, no matter what, I knew in my mind that I have to find a way to beat this, because I didn't want to leave here. I didn't want to leave my 5-year-old. He just turned 5 years today, but he was 4 then. Thank you. So then now the vibration, it kind of edges off, or it's getting less violent. It's kind of, easing off. And then I open my eyes and I'm like, I gotta sit up because I'm gonna throw up on my bed. So I sit up and I stand up and I walk to the bathroom. And as soon as I lean over the toilet, I thought to myself, how did I just walk to the bathroom like that? And I didn't feel the pain in my stomach at all. Like I couldn't sit up without screaming inside just to lean up, because I'm leaning on this mass in my stomach. I'm leaning on this, whatever it is that's inside of me. And just to sit up the pain is, I don't know. I've never had anything like that in my life. And that scared me. That's what scared me. What scared me was that pain wasn't there no more. None of it. I was nauseous. I thought I was going to throw up my whole life. I threw up, and the nausea was still on me. I can still taste the blue dye. I can also taste saline, and I can still feel the radiation coming off my pores.
So
And
were you thinking, what just happened to me?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know, and I didn't see anybody. I didn't physically see anyone. I just heard the guy on my left ear and the two females. I don't know if I would call him a guy, because he didn't sound like a regular guy. He sounded more like not robot, but there was like a robotic tune in his voice when he spoke to me, or a robotic vibration in his voice when he told me, "Don't be afraid, Melissa, grab my hand." And it was like, like that was, and then the females I heard on this side of me, like they were over here on the right side when I was laying down I don't know what I was laying on, but I knew that somebody laid me down on top of something. I didn't feel what it was. I just knew that they laid me there. And it was still white. Like everything was blindingly white, but it didn't bother me. I just that's all I was aware of, was that whiteness that I was surrounded in. Like I couldn't see nothing but the white, but that. So I throw up. Well, I'm sorry, but I did. And then, I clean myself up and I go back in the living room and I'm sitting down. And when I sit down, I'm laughing to myself, because it would take me some time just to sit down, because now I have to bend my body to the couch. And I would have to brace myself for the pain just to sit. And that was going on for over a year. But I didn't have to do any of that. The next thing, after that, I was nauseous that whole day. The nausea was, it was a lot. And I felt like the radiation was on me the rest of the evening. The only thing I could think about was, what am I going to tell my husband when he comes through his door? He's going to think I'm crazy. But I tell him things anyway, so that sounds crazy. And he knows, he's not, he's a great listener, but he doesn't, sometimes he gets scared. He's very fearful of the other side, or the unknown, I want to say. And I've been having experiences since I was a little girl of people that weren't there, and I didn't know them, but I've been with him 10 years, and even us together, I've shared some things that, when they happen, I tell him, and he'll be like, "Babe, please, I'm scared." And I'll be like, "Okay, well, then I'll call my sister, because she listens to me." And for a long time, she thought I was crazy too. She was like, "Melissa, this crazy story." But now, she's like, she's more in awe and more in, she's great. She's a really great listener, So I tell my husband later that when he comes home from work, I tell him, and he actually started crying. And I was crying.
That's amazing.
Even though I was sick. I'm sorry?
I said, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's unexplainable. And I don't have no other answers for that. Like, I don't know, I don't know. But I can only say what happened.
So
and
my guess is that they burned this tumor out of you and you vomited it, right? Out of your body.
Yep.
And so who, And someone put a great comment in the chat. Was it friendly aliens or angels? Who do you think assisted you?
Honestly, I really feel like this is gonna sound crazy. So I feel like it was both. And I don't want to say angels actually.
Well, some people may misinterpret aliens as angels or vice versa.
Yes, that's true. So I think it was a being of another race on a ship. Yes, I believe that's exactly where I was. But I also, the female, I don't know about the one that spoke another language, but she felt more of, my second story is really going to lead me to her because it was the same voice. I think she's my guide. I think she's always been with me.
Could be, yes.
I've heard a female, like, let's say if a girl's standing behind me, like right, like audibly, not in my head, like out loud. Like my son woke up after that experience, I went back to work because I'm in healthcare. I went back to work, and I think it was a Saturday morning. I woke up and I'm drinking my coffee on my couch, at my coffee table. My son woke up. He lays on the couch he brings his blanket and lays on the couch. I didn't think anything, but I hear that same voice, but in English, and she's like, "Oh, this one's gonna be sick."
What was that?
And she says, "Oh, this one's gonna be sick."
This one's gonna be sick.
Yeah, that's what she said. And I know she's talking about my son wasn't sick or anything. He wasn't. It was very early, so a lot of times, if he catches me in the morning, he does. If I'm on the couch, he'll go to the couch and he'll lay on the couch, and probably fall back out there. But my thought was, why did you call him this one? Like, or not like child, or I don't know why that was my thought, but that was my thought. Not even an hour later, my son was burning up at 106 fever, and he was positive for COVID. Nobody in my house had COVID. My son hadn't been around anyone. My son is school age now, but he didn't go to daycare. He didn't, we didn't, that's not something we didn't send him out in public, to anything like that. So I didn't understand, but I knew, and she wasn't talking to me. She was talking to a male.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that there was a male presence with her. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
But and I just knew that. I don't know how or why I knew that. I just knew that there was a male next to her that she was talking to about my son. And my only thought was, and it wasn't who are you? It was why would you call him? Why would you say this one? Like I got offended. Like, why not say baby, or her son is gonna be, or Joey is gonna be sick. But there was no response. I didn't hear anything. But he was sick, and he was sick for about 9 days. He was down we couldn't get the fever under control. Of course we rotated Tylenol and Motrin as us parents do, but we went to the hospital 2 different times because after 3-4 days, his fever still was spiking, and that continued on for 9 days. Jeff, I tried to get on your show a couple of Saturdays ago.
I was having problems a couple Saturdays ago where nobody was getting on.
That was the time.
That might have been that time, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I said, well, this is ending. I got on my gardening show. One of the YouTubers that I love to watch. He's out of New Jersey. He's my inspiration when it comes to vegetables and growing,
cool.
different things here.
That's awesome.
So it was late though. You guys I think ended about 10:30. It was late, but I had my headphones on. I was laying in the bed, pitch black room, and I'm watching, and I think to myself, oh, let me do a couple of raised beds. I forgot about those too. because I don't know what's in the sky. Not to go there, but you know, it's a lot going on, and I don't want the water to drain or to fall, you know, on what I'm growing. Um, and he was showing how he made like the cover, the dome cover for the raised beds. He made it himself. And my husband, he builds bridges for a living, so I know he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we're gonna do. And then I hear a female again, and she's like, that's gonna take time. And I said, you act like I don't have time. In fact, I thought time didn't exist. So what are we talking about here? I'm still gonna do it. This is what I said to her in my head while I'm laying in bed. And for some reason, this wasn't my guide. This was a different female voice because she was startled that I heard her. I felt that she was kind of shocked, or, you know, kind of like that I heard her. And as soon as that feeling came on me, I was gone. I wasn't in my bed anymore. I was somewhere else in this white light around another female or of a different race in a ship. And she's not singing, but I think she was singing. I don't know, because it was another language
That's cool.
over me. Like she was like, I don't know. She was singing these words over me. And it happened, so it wasn't like it happened rather quickly. And I don't know, they put me back where I was, and I opened my eyes. Not that my eyes were ever closed or I was sleepy. I wasn't sleepy. I was ready to get on your podcast to share my experiences. I was pumped up.
That's crazy that if you would have showed on the podcast and that night, you may have not had that experience.
That's so true. I know. It's insane. And as soon as I kind of like opened whatever they did, I don't know. I just had this burst of energy all over in my pores, through like maybe my cells. It was freaky, but it felt really good. It was late though. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do with this energy? I have to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got up and I started like cleaning, and then I went outside in the front porch area and just, I just kind of hung out there just looking at the stars, and because I didn't know what to do with it. I don't know why she sent all that energy so late at night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not complaining. That's what she did.
Do you have a history of of seeing UFOs or anything in your past?
So my daughter will be 15 in September, and the first time I've seen a ship in the sky, she was 3.5 years old. It was about 12 of them though, and they were hovering right above the tree line. And we were at a friend's house, and my friend has a wraparound porch all the way around her house, and me and my friend was sitting. My daughter was off the porch in the grass area, and me and my friend were on her porch, so we couldn't see the sky because she has her porch wraps all the way around, so it's just the ceiling, kind of like this. My daughter was looking up. She was just looking up, and I don't know what made me jump up, but I don't know what she didn't do anything differently. She was just looking up, and it made me feel uncomfortable. So I said, let me go see what she's looking at. So when I got up off the porch, and there, my friend, she has a neighbor that lives not too far. There's like a field in between, but you can still see the house. And there was like 4 guys outside. The dad, and I think the sons were out there. Anyway, they were already looking up like, oh my God, what is this? Wow. Like that. But I didn't hear them first. I just seen what my daughter did. And when I got off the porch, it was just it looked, them press-on lights. I've never used one. I've just seen them on TV years ago, where you can put them on the wall and you press them and it turns on. It's a circle.
Okay. I don't know those, but I think I get it.
Yeah. Hi, baby. Close the door, honey.
What about this? Did you,
Nope, go
you know, you're in North Carolina, and I had the guest on, a very famous UFO contactee, alien contactee, Chris Bledsoe. Did you see that video? And he's not too far from you.
I'm not sure if
You
I'm
should.
not sure.
Did you? But you never witnessed what they look like. You were only ever in the bright light, and that was it, right? When you were out, when you were outside, did you see orbs or anything? Anything look like an orb? I think that's what he sees a lot, is orbs.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he's not too far from you. If you're in Raleigh, I think he's like probably within an hour's drive or less from you, because I think he's like in a small town outside of Raleigh. You need to check out that video. You live what?
Too. I live in a small town outside.
Maybe there's a lot of UFO activity going on over there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure. It is. I will check him out.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. It was like it was within about a month or month and a half ago max. If the video thumbnail shows a guy in dark sunglasses, but I think that, yeah, man, you should drive down there. I think people go to his house to go see orbs and stuff. You'd be a good person to connect with him.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
sure.
You just saw.
Can I tell you one more
Sure.
thing?
Mm-hmm.
I know this. I don't want to take up too much time, but I really want to tell you this experience.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my couch. My couch is my best friend, isn't it? I was on my couch and I was reading an article, and I don't know what happened, but it was a presence behind me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to say it snatched me out of me, but it did. I don't know what it was. I didn't know if it was male or female yet.
Are you saying it pulled your consciousness out of your body?
I feel like it pulled my spirit out of my body.
Uh-huh.
And then this is the only time, it is my first time too, but the only time I've ever seen a being of another race with my eyes, in not obviously physically, but it was physically, because she pulled me out and she was so excited to see me. She was blue.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And this is the crazy part.
Mm-hmm.
When she pulled me out, the look on her face and the energy she gave me she was family to me. In fact, she was my sister to me.
What do you think about star seeds, if you know about them? And do you think it's possible that in a past life that is your sister and you came here to do whatever this time around?
I don't know too much about star seeds. I've heard a couple of experiences on your show about them,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never really, star seeds wasn't like a subject for me, because
Mm-hmm.
I was more into healing and, trying to find my way to just heal me and be here and get back, to me again. Do you
think it's possible that prior to coming here, you were also one of those blue beings?
Yes, because when she pulled me out, I was blue.
Wow.
And I felt these wings that I felt them I felt them go down my back. I felt them. And I seen hers. Not angel. Not angel, like, mm-hmm. More like, I don't know, maybe like a being, like a human / animal.
Right. Like a hawk man, hawk woman.
Yeah, something like that. Like,
that's cool.
It was, and when I felt them, I gasped. I was like, and when I gasped, she said, "This is you."
That's amazing.
And she was like, I'm Erin, your sister.
Wow, even a name. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Does it resonate that that's the truth for you?
I've never belonged here. But my parents died but when I was 11. They died the same year. Even when I remember one time my parents had a black and white TV. They had double doors to their bedroom and it was glass, clear. You can see right through.
Mm-hmm.
You can see their white blankets and comforters and everything. And the news was on and the sun was it was shining so bright. But there was a mermaid on the news, but the mermaid was caught, I think, like in the Philippines. It was in another country. And I felt really sad for her. And I'm 40, this was, I couldn't have been no more than 6 or 7 years old. But even after that, I never belonged here. Never. I don't know why I've always known that. Even though I had, my parents' tragedy and I battled with religion, I didn't battle with it. I was never into religion because it didn't make sense to me. I tried it. I tried the Bible. I tried reading it. And it didn't make sense to me. It was a lot missing. It didn't, and for me, that for a long time, people would shun me because that's, frowned upon, that I'm frowning upon Bible. I'm not frowning upon the Bible. I just don't, it didn't resonate for me.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even sound believable to me. I had so many questions I always have. And now that I listen to Paul Wallace.
Yeah, he's cool.
Amazing. He was on your show.
Yeah.
I've been listening to him forever as well. And he, he really opens up more of, first of all, translation got lost in the English language, with the Hebrew language of whatever the words really mean. We didn't know that. And when you read it correctly, not saying, put your tin hat on or anything, but when it's read correctly and it's, the words are changed, that makes more sense of things. It just does. It's understood clearer for me.
Right. Wow.
So, but no, I've never felt like I belonged here.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, after watching this podcast, people may want to, and you don't have to say yes, but people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. If you're up for that?
Of course.
Let them know where to reach you.
So I don't have a YouTube or anything like that.
Well, they can meet you on Facebook or whatever.
Facebook page. They can. You can definitely welcome to connect with me on Messenger, or you can, just reach out to me on Facebook. Lopez Marie, Lopez Marie, Marie. And I'm happy. I love these conversations.
Yeah.
Well, I would answer anything for anyone. Yeah,
well,
for sure.
You are amazing tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences that were really uplifting and really inspirational.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy. If I touched anyone, I just want, I want to say you can heal yourself, but don't give up. If something is wrong, fight for you. Fight for your spirit. Fight for your soul. No matter how far you are in whatever it is, fight to come back. And I just know it'll happen. It will happen.
Yeah, those are great.
It's our choice. It's our choice.
Those are great words.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I love you.
Oh, we love you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, if you have another experience, you better come back and tell us about it.
I promise. I will.
All right.
I will. All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, she's gone. Wow, that was amazing. That was so awesome. And look at this. We've got all these people here. Marie, she said Lopez Marie. It said Melissa on her Zoom name here, but she said Lopez, which I'm assuming is Marie Lopez, but she said Lopez Marie. but that was so awesome. All right, Vanessa is here. Let's bring Vanessa in. Let's see what's going on with Vanessa. Vanessa.
Hi.
I was gonna say mute the, but you did it. You already muted it, so that's cool. Hey, Vanessa. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome back. Wait, for those of you that don't know, we've done a podcast together, Vanessa and I, and I know I don't. It's 475. I keep asking you. Is it 475? 476?
475. Yeah.
There we go. I remembered it. That's awesome.
It's great to have heard that came just right now, because actually I was gonna call you to talk about the. I know I've spoken about this with you, but not with other people. With cancer.
Who?
My anecdote with the tumor, I was diagnosed after being healed from that's where I left my podcast with you. I never finished all the story because it was so long. But yes, I was diagnosed with an ovarian tumor.
Wow.
And after what I went through, right? And obviously, it changed my life after that.
Yeah, of course.
But curious enough, when they told me that I had it, I did not feel afraid. I basically I knew that they were, when I say they, spirit was preparing me to see if I could, after having the first paranormal experience that I had, upgrade me, see if I could deal now with this test. And so, yes, I was in 2018, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and I had a tumor on my left ovary, and on my right ovary, sorry. And so they decided to operate, and they did a hysterectomy. And they sent me home after taking everything out. And I was here actually in this room. So they sent me for a full month and a half, because it takes time for that.
Yeah, of course.
I could have done it. They did it by laparoscopy, which was very good. But still, and the inside, they sew you up. And so when I came back, that's where I had my huge spiritual what I can call the spiritual awakening, because I had never even heard about that word. But the truth was that while I was here in my house alone, healing, right, post operation, I started to see visions, and then I started to even hear more, like ringing in my ears, and I would know that they were gonna speak to me. So I call it like a spiritual boot camp. That's how it felt. So there was where I started to have these huge and long conversations, because I had so much time to be here alone, right? I didn't have even my kids. I had to send them away for that month and a half. And while being here alone, that's where I started receiving all these downloads of information, and how I had created the disease, how I had that had happened to me because I had created it.
Wow.
And so they taught me. I had this school. That's how it felt, literally. I was schooled about how that happens in the human body, how it had happened to me, and what did I had to do to heal myself. And so that's where my spiritual journey literally started heavily. And so I learned about the body, how it gets its diseases, how we cause our diseases to happen, and that this is where I started learning about. They taught me about energy, right, and how the energy translates into energy in motion, in emotions in the body by way of our chakra system, and how our plasma ignites, right? Our plasma in our blood ignites each gland, each hormonal gland, right? And so the chakra rules all the 7 glands of the body. And you know what happens when the 7 glands of the body are not functioning well? Well, the thing is that you're gonna get sick. That's the truth. And so that's where I started to do this. And when I came back to receive I was going back to the doctor by the end of the month and a half. And when I went back, I was putting all this for myself, right, in practice of what I was learning. And I was going back to my doctor to receive my other tests that they had done to see what kind of treatment they were going to give me. And when I went, the doctor told me, Vanessa, I have some news to give you. I don't want to see you anymore, at least not as a patient. If you want to come, if you want to come and visit me, you can come and visit me, but not as a patient, okay? Because there's nothing. So I was surprised. Imagine, I could not believe it. It was incredible. And that's how my journey started, to learn how to heal even more, right? And learn more about energy, how everything is that, and how I had to learn the language of energy in order for us to live good lives. And so right immediately they started to to put me into practice, because then I had my second paranormal, if you can call it, right, experience, where repeated again, that they told me, go to the ground, we're going to speak to you right now. And huge downloads of a lot of information, and how I had to start, how they give me instructions how to go and heal another person that was dying exactly of cancer, like stage 4 cancer. And so I knew I was crying and everything, and I couldn't believe it, because I was being told, that's where I was told, that my purpose from here on now, right, that my mission was to write the book and to teach about how people could do this, right, for themselves, and how to help others as they had helped me understand what goes on with the body, and how we develop all kinds of diseases, not only cancer, any kind of disease, and how we can reverse them, just by understanding.
That's great. I'm sorry, I was gonna say that's great. Where now I think your website is called Evo for Life.
Evo Life 360.
Evo Life 360. I'm close. And then your YouTube channel is the same?
YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't have the webpage yet. It's just Facebook and YouTube.
All right. Evo Life 360. Vanessa, I have to run. I'm way over time, and I've still got 4 people waiting on me. But thank you for coming and sharing your life with us. We really appreciate you.
Me too. Love you.
All right. We love you too.
We can heal. We can heal.
Yes, we can. All right, Vanessa. Have a great rest of your evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
And a big round of applause for Vanessa. Now this says Vega. I wonder if that was Vanessa also, because I think once before she had trouble getting in. Is it Vanessa again, or is it a different Vega? We'll find out. We'll check just to make sure. And it says joining. Maybe it's not Vanessa. Maybe it's somebody else. Or maybe it is. I'm gonna put, I guess I can't, I'm kind of stuck now. I was gonna put Vega back in to the room. It's still on that. I have a feeling that's Vanessa, because one time she was trying to go from her phone and I think her computer. Let's see, while we're doing it, we'll just see what happens with Aiden too. Aiden tried to get in earlier and his voice was really low. Aiden. Oh, his audio isn't on yet. Let's see what's going to happen with Aiden. Whoa, it looks like he's under a desk or something. Maybe he's on a phone this time. Where's my notes? My notes would say we can see you, but we can't hear you. We're waiting for his audio to say. Your audio, they'll have to be the ones that are backwards. This is what here is. Maybe we'll say your audio is not on yet. See, it's got to be this way because it's mirrored. Here it is. Your screen is frozen. I gotta keep these like on my desk.
Oh my gosh, this app is so stupid.
Hello, you're on. Aiden. Hello, Aiden. Yeah, but it's already synced up. He's here. Aiden, can you hear me?
Oh my god,
we hear you. You're on with us. I don't know if you realize that you are on and it's working. Hello? And looks like he's making taco meat. Are you cooking taco meat? All right, I can barely hear you. Your volume's not loud enough.
have another earbud.
There you go. That's better.
That's better?
Yeah, you finally made it after these 2 weeks. You're in real audio. So what did you say? You're cooking taco meat?
I'm making flautas, yeah.
You're making flautas?
And in fact, flautas. Flauta Supremes.
Flautas, yeah. All right. I like if you're going to...
It's like a HelloFresh thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't normally cook on my own.
Wow.
But it actually helps. It's good practice. Mm-hmm. So wait.
All right. So you've been trying to get in for 2 weeks. You're finally here. What do you have to share with us?
I'm going to burn it. I'm going to just turn it down to low. I'm going to let it simmer. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to jinx it.
Don't say negative things.
Oh, God willing. So, yeah, the point is I wanted to call mainly because I have multiple questions. Mainly, what do you believe after like 500 plus? I don't know if you're at 1,000 or what.
I'm
like,
at
I don't know if you're like
877, 878. was what the
almost
word is.
quad. You've
But-
almost reached the quad.
Right,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter what I think, because the
No,
podcast is
it
not
actually
about
does.
me. It matters what you think and the audience
No.
thinks, and that's why I never.
But-
and it's best for me not to give my opinion, because
But
you
one
have to.
are in many.
You need to
Here.
make I present the guests and let you all make up your own minds.
But wait, many are in one and one are in many.
Okay.
All right. And I'm not saying we're that one. Well, we
Mhm.
actually are collectively that one. And
Mhm.
that's like what you would call the higher consciousness. That's what you call God, Jesus. That's what you call love.
Okay.
And that's basically sacrifice. Ultimately, it ends up being sacrifice, but it's not like the sacrifices in like you sacrifice yourself or necessarily anything like that. It's that you sacrifice for love, for the perseverance even of love. So like once even love is lost, you sacrifice for that to be regained. And that's what Jesus does. And that's, anyways, the point is, what do you believe at this point now about what love or what meaning is? Like, what is the higher, what is the spiritual realm? What is the afterlife? I really am curious, please. Yeah, just like what
I
seems most
just-
believable, most truthful to you?
It's a work in progress for me.
And
And then
a cop-out.
in a way, this podcast is my own spiritual journey, which I never expected from the beginning. And
That's
again, you have to realize that I have listened to over 800 people. Have you listened to all 800?
No, and I don't know if I'd want to. No
Okay.
offense to them, but it's a I have a lot of other stuff to do.
Right. So
And-
that's okay, but I'm still
yeah.
sorting it all out.
That's not my journey.
That's
As it is yours, but
right.
it's not-
Yeah, and I'm still sorting it all out, and I am guilty. I should be writing my thoughts, writing it all down, and eventually publish it in a book, but I'm just too busy to do that, to give you my final thoughts on everything. But even at that, when I feel like I've had enough pieces to the puzzle, a new piece presents itself, which changes my theory. And again, you know, that's also about when you've listened to 800 people, you're gonna sometimes get conflicting evidence. So you're still, you haven't pulled it all together. And I think someone said, which I agree, that maybe we'll never get all the pieces.
I think that's part of holiness. That's part of perfection. Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say ultimately the childlike innocence is what makes there anything to be or not longed for. Just that's what keeps it exciting. I don't know how to describe that, but yeah, we actually need a little bit of lack. I think that when you're in the position of God as like wholeness, then you actually are very depressed. I think it's a huge burden to bear. And I
Mhm.
think we all kind of have a general understanding of that. Like I feel like I'm often very in touch with that, where I see, oh, Sage, come on. What are you doing, man? You're making me look like a fool.
Who's Sage?
Yeah, you're right. My brother.
Oh, and where
and
are
then
you?
my-
It's
no, my
nice and
mom.
bright out there. Are you in Oregon or California?
I'm in, oh, Mom. Hey, I'm on the phone.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Lou is doing his stuff. Oh, goodness.
Are
I'm
you
with my
hiding
family.
from everybody?
Nope, I'm in the middle of everything right now. Very conveniently.
So are you in
All right.
California, Oregon, or Washington State? I'm curious.
Oregon State.
All right.
I'm in like the mid coast, pretty much
Okay.
right in the middle
Like
of the coast.
Eugene
Yeah.
area?
Like inland from Eugene.
Hmm.
Inland and like in north from Eugene.
Hmm.
I know. I just.
By the
told-
way,
I
the
just
chat
told them.
one, the chat.
coast.
By the way, someone in the chat has a good point. Did you turn off the
South coast.
flautas before you came outside?
Yeah, they're on simmer.
We don't want you to burn your. We don't want you to burn your dinner.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Well, it's everyone's dinner too. I mean, like, Mom, do you want some? She wants some. It's gonna be good. Yeah, I should be really careful. I'm gonna take it off.
I like the
It's
I like
done.
the pot holder, by the way, above you. I think that's cool.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
I think it's a great
Good
idea.
point. Yeah, it's not actually centered though.
So where
It blocks the
when
cabinets.
you showed up last week, right after my complete system went down, and then you showed up with that voice. It was so amazing. We all thought that we had a real ET. We thought we had a real ET on the podcast.
I know. I wish I could be your ET, but I'm not one of those people.
That's
I'm sorry.
okay. Hey, this is a great name.
Even if I could even if I could play that, I'm an actor, but I don't go that far.
We have someone, Jay Lizard is calling you the Mystic Chef. That's a great name for you. What do you think about that?
I prefer any title. I prefer not any title, or oh God, how would you say that better? More eloquently. I don't like titles. Yeah. I think the only title I like is I'm a being. I think, oh God. Yeah, that's probably why it's so cringe. But I think that I have a message, you could say, right?
All right. What is your message?
We all have a message. We're all angels, so to speak.
Right.
We all have our own message to deliver. And my message, at the moment, actually, here, this is one thing I wanted to say. I'm probably not going to have enough time to say it, but it's a big thing about my name. It's a big coincidence. So my name phonetically, I have two last names, one first name, obviously. It's Aden Leahy Crooks. So what do you get from that at first glance, or at first
well, you know where I'm from, I'm very close to Mexico, and in Mexico they have two last names. So I was surprised that you're not from Mexico and you have two last names. Why is that?
It's actually pretty common around here. My family is just broken. That's how I can describe it.
Right.
I have a very broken family, and we're working, like I have a multi-generational household right now, which is why I'm making food for multiple people.
Right.
I have four siblings. I'm one of five. And yeah, it's been interesting. Yeah. No, so the point is that, so anyways, if you were to write it down, it would be Aden, and this is exactly how it sounds. I mean, like,
did you remember last week someone had, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but last week someone made a great point that you were one letter from alien.
Or AI, yeah. AI Den, right? Here. So no, both of those are very true.
Aden Leahy Crux. What was your was your name? Crux is like
Aden Leahy, Leahy, and it's pronounced Leahy. It's an Irish thing.
Crux.
And then it's crooks, and crooks is pretty obvious. I mean, crooks is just like people that live on a crook. It's not supposed to be like thieves.
Okay.
But it reminds me a lot. I've actually had encounters, interestingly enough, like coincidental encounters, as I call them, with that verse of like, you've turned my temple into a den of thieves. So like I remember like so Aden Crooks is what I currently go by, and you'll see me in chat. Because again, that's how I view everything, is like, if you don't acknowledge God, then you don't acknowledge the gift. So like, okay, you're a thief if you don't acknowledge the gift you're given. So say like you break into a house, but like the house was already given to you. You didn't even know that like they actually wanted you to enter in, and they wanted you to like take everything that you wanted, but you did it in the intention of taking without being given. I don't know. It's a really weird thing, but basically it's thievery if you don't acknowledge the gift.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
That's I get it. I get what you're saying.
And that's kind of the position we're in with Jesus, because I mean, ultimately I've seen some encounters where they don't experience Jesus. They experience like something like the Father, I guess, but I don't know. I can't actually see a higher level of God, like even Buddha or any of those other ones. Like, sure, they have a level of like peace and whatever you want to say, but mainly the sacrifice, like mainly like the dying for others, like the giving of yourself. So like if you were to imagine God, right? You imagine you're in the position of God and you want to make more. You have to like divide yourself up. You have to seek inside yourself, because you're all that there is, and everything is just, it's not darkness, it's not even light, it's just you. And you're like, okay, well, I just want to like I can't imagine, it's unimaginable. And that's the whole point, is like there's a level of just like a paradox to all of creation, and it's just beautiful. And like that is what God is, and that's why he's so worthy of like worship,
Mhm.
as you could say. Some people don't like worship. Like, have you ever worshipped? Have you ever had a position of? Have you ever been in that position where you felt
remember,
like?
this is not about me. We're here to talk about you and your
Okay.
experience. Remember, this is about you. I'm here to talk about your experiences, your beliefs, your.
Well, see, when I hear your,
I'm not here to
like
be
when
interviewed.
when I use any possessives actually as a person,
Mhm.
I usually use lowercase because
Mhm.
I personally don't view myself as I'm not the self.
Right.
I think that we are all the self is God, and we are all an extension of the self, and it's God's expression of himself or of their self, whatever you want to say, however you want to like. I definitely feminine is not a very appropriate term. I would say they or he is more appropriate.
Okay.
If you're referring to like the plural of them
Mm-hmm.
or of like or of Jesus, because I think that Jesus really does like he is that placeholder where like he personally represents like the most expression God's ever had on this earth. And I think there's something coming with aliens too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime around the rapture, it's supposed to be, where basically they suggest that there's been this giant abduction of people, where in actuality it's not an abduction, it's that they what exactly Jesus told us would happen is
Mm-hmm.
he would take us back into heaven and we would be with him forever.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, Aiden, listen, bud. I hope you enjoy those flautas. You're making us all hungry here. But I've got to run. I'm way into overtime. I usually finish at 9 and it's getting close to 10 and I have 2 people waiting on me. But I'm glad you made it. Thanks a lot for coming and sharing.
I don't want to interrupt. What does Aden Leahy Crooks mean? I've asked many people
I
this.
don't know. It means...
Doesn't sound like anything?
That means nothing for me. It means, you know... It means that you are a brilliant young man with great philosophical beliefs.
Okay, I can accept that. I think there's going to be some people that I might have to lay in a den, though, is what I make up. Or I'm in a den. I think this might be a version of hell for me. I hope I never actually have to go to like hell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that it could go either way. Either I'm in the den or other people are going to be laid in a den. Anyways, all right.
All right,
God
brother.
bless you, folks.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your weekend. Cheers.
Yeah, you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm. And a big round of applause for Aiden. All right, we've got Mr. Cake here. I wonder if he's on the golf course. He's been hanging out at the golf course a lot lately. And is he at the golf course again? No, he's not at the golf course. Stephen, what would happen if you were juggling those orbs and the orbs just started flying by themselves without you juggling?
They will fly, they will fly, they will fly away, fly away. They will do what I say. I love you all, I love you.
We love you, we love you. Where have you been tonight, Stephen?
Thank you, darling. I went out and juggled for people last night.
Yes?
It was wonderful, darling.
It was. How come you're not on the 9th or the... I guess it's dark there because you're usually out on the golf course.
We're doing some overtime here, folks. We're going to do some overtime. Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for doing this show. And thank you. Blessings, everyone.
So what's going on with you this week, Stephen? What new things do you have to share with us?
Oh, just, Jeff, my life is very hard for me. So I just had to pray to God, and then they granted me the special power to do whatever I wanted, because they said life was about Steve. You weren't doing what you wanted in life. I said, there's things I want to do, folks. I want to come back. I want to come back large and huge and big, folks. That's what I want to do.
Are you still posting on your YouTube channel?
I did a little bit.
Yeah? What are you posting there? Walk and talks?
Hey, kids, we're doing a little walk and talk, if you know what I mean. I'd like to do more. Yeah, I was like, everyone should be watching me when I go out juggling. I was like, I don't have a cameraman, or when I'm out on a golf course. Basically, Tiger Woods on a golf course, hitting the ball very far, very far. And I can do some juggling here for you.
You know what I need to do is I need to put some music on. Wait, here we go. Oh, that's not.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to put something on so we could give you some background music. But I got nothing that's got. I need something with like a good techno beat. No, that's not a good. I don't have a techno beat. I gotta find something for you. There we go. It's kind of good.
Oh, but we don't need to juggle that much, do we?
Here's the tempo. There you
go. Okay.
Great job. Great job. Are you doing, but that's only 5, right? What about 6?
Oh, come on, Jeff.
I've got to push your boundaries. I've got to push your boundaries. I'm pushing you and making you take it to the next level, Stephen. If somebody doesn't push you,
we're going to take it to high.
It's just a little gentle challenging.
Well, some people have a natural gift to do that, Jeff. And I just do the 3 balls, 4 balls, and sometimes a 5 ball. But now I'm a great impressionist. I can do just about anything.
You know, can you do a vampire?
Can I do a vampire? I think I can come to Transylvania and do a vampire over there. I wish
you need to come at the very beginning with Michaelin, who writes about vampires, and you show up as a vampire.
But I'm not afraid of the vampire. Don't invite them in. I say there's a greater mind, Jeff. I say that we're just not aware of, and no one knows what it is, and it just shows up as whoever. If a dog is talking to you, it's probably the greater mind just having some fun with you. They just like to just razzle dazzle me all the time.
Have you ever had a dog talk to you?
Well, during that enlightenment, I was a pet psychic for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was a pet psychic, and I could channel the dad and Michael Jackson. But then now I just think that, it was just the greater mind feeding me that information. See, when we're in our belief system, I said there's no way we can get the truth. I told you this before. There's no way we can just get the truth. We all have to live in a belief system. And mine is the great mind. There's a great mind out there that we don't know what is going on with that thing.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. I mean, but though, I don't know if you would say that's the same as the mind jackers, though.
Mind jacker, folks. Mind jacker number 1. What do you want, Jeff? Well, I said that I kept asking, I said, tell me what to do. That's what I was begging God. Tell me what to do. So they told me what to do.
Which is do whatever you want.
No, they wanted me to be a holy person, but after 6 months of this, I started resisting it more and more. It felt like a training program. It felt like I was in a training program, but they made it easier for me to do things. I could do impressions. Oh, and I could meet a famous guru from India if I wanted to. And I said, are you the tech support worker, taxi cab, or convenience store worker? But also the guru. They just made it easy. They would take me over, Jeff. They would just take me right over and just make me do whatever impression they wanted to. And I just had to go along with that. But they had to help me so I could try to get my life. I said they hit the reset button on me.
Yeah.
They hit the reset button on me, said, try to get my life back instead of sitting in a room waiting for the next life.
I think, I'm glad that you're out and about, not just, hanging out in the room all the time.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I say I just want to wake up and be back in my life, where I'm doing things and healthy.
Mm-hmm. What about a life of well, you already are kind of a guy that gives a lot of service. You go out and, tell people. You are a man of service already, aren't you?
Yeah, I like making people's days better.
Right. I mean, you go out and God bless people. You're telling people Merry Christmas. You're entertaining them.
Yeah, they put a fire under my butt. I said they gave me all this energy to do that. And they see it's so much easier when you have like I say an intelligent agent with you helping me. Right now they gave me a mind that corrects me. And I said, I wish I would have had this my whole life. It would have been a lot. I wish everyone was enlightened, and they just had someone there correcting them, Jeff, if they said something that wasn't right, because I said it's kind of like what we want. I want people to care. Yeah. But they also say, see, I believe life was a gift, a very, very naughty gift from naughty God. No, just it was a gift and we shouldn't waste it. But other people don't believe that. So that was my belief. Mm-hmm. And I gave that analogy. Like I got to, it's like the Emerald City to meet the wizard, that's like God. And then you pull back the curtain and nobody's there.
Yeah,
nobody's
I remember that.
Reality happening.
Reality check. Nobody's there running the show.
No one's there. No one's up in the space, but they can show up. I said they can show up as gods, spirits, aliens, your deceased loved ones. They'll be there. Like I had Monique, that the spirit friend with me, and she's sitting on my bed and holding my hand, and she's just with me all the time. Jeff. She's a very special girl. She's very nice to me. Mm.
Well, Stephen, I have to do what I've got to do, brother. I'm almost an hour into overtime, and I got another person waiting on me.
Well, I hope you're getting paid very handsomely for this. Well, thank you, Doc.
Me too.
Have a great night, everyone.
Stephen, we love you. Thank you for coming, and have a great rest of your evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, he's gone. That was fast. And next up is Jason. So, there he is. He's connecting to audio. And hopefully his audio will connect soon. And I'll let him know what's up. We are waiting for audio to sync. Jason, can you hear me?
Hello, Jeff.
Welcome,
good evening.
Welcome, brother. Where are you streaming from?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Wow, I had a great guest from there one time. It was a guy that is an NDE, and his main pipe of blood, his aorta basically exploded, and he basically bled to death. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It's probably about a year or two ago.
Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell, but I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you have to share with us this evening?
Well, Jeff, where would you like to go? I've had a spiritual awakening a few years ago, and basically a spontaneous spiritual awakening.
Wow.
Got downloaded with a whole bunch of knowledge and other things.
How did this spontaneous thing happen? What were you doing prior to that?
I was working. It's actually quite ironic you had Stephen on last. I was running golf clubs.
Okay.
Just a normal guy running a business, this and that. Start waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, getting downloads. Is what I'd call them now.
Were you a spiritual person before this happened?
I wouldn't have called myself that at all.
Were you religious?
I was. I believed in God. I had my beliefs, but never even called myself spiritual.
Okay.
It almost took me Googling. I started waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, just looking into aliens, pyramids, started just looking into stuff. Happened for a little while, and then all of a sudden I Googled, what the heck's going on with me?
Yeah.
Looked at this, and spiritual awakening showed up.
Right.
I go, holy shit, Jeff.
Yeah.
So That's kind of my story. But there's
would
been
it
a
be,
lot
would
since
it be,
then.
sorry to interrupt you, but would it be fair to say that none of this spiritual woo-woo stuff was even on your radar before it happened?
Not at all.
Right.
I made fun of people like me beforehand.
Okay.
In a way, you know, you'd have people at my work that work for me talk about reptilians, other stuff. I'd hear stuff, you know, just, and I'd say, what are these people talking about?
Mhm.
And, you know, you start opening up your eyes a little bit and awakening, and a lot of that stuff could be true.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been quite a
So
journey.
you started waking up night after night, 3 o'clock in the morning, getting downloads.
Yes.
All right.
So I basically wake up, didn't know what was going on. I started meditating.
Okay.
Now I knew of meditation. I was never able to do it before then, but basically just started breathing, and I would see images, other things, and started getting knowledge. I knew it was true. I could feel my vibration raising. Had a few months where everything was perfectly in sync. So I've seen the world in the most beautiful way possible, where I understood everything. It's similar to your NDEs, um, and different. Everything was in sync. Like I would drive down the road and birds would just fly beside me, and I was everything was just perfect. I woke up excited about life, unlike like when you're a little kid, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Is how it felt. Um, and I had that for a few months, and then just sunk down, basically. And I know you're short on time tonight,
That's
so I
okay.
want to be respectful of
That's all
that.
right. So, all right. So things were going good, and then it appears that they became not so good.
Yes, and it seems to be a bit of a theme that people that wake up um, go through a dark night of the soul, I suppose. Um, and it's all for lessons. And I see it all that way now.
Hmm.
Of course, divorce, lost house, everything else, job. Um, now I make this sound normal, but I'm sure your viewers will understand a little bit. But it's just part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
You have to lose everything to gain everything.
So
To appreciate life.
were you married at the time that you started getting these downloads?
Yes, yes. I
Right.
spoke to the ex-wife about it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Things didn't go
she
well.
was not. Yeah, she wasn't receptive.
Right.
I started telling everybody about energy's real. We're all connected. This and that didn't go very well in my
Right.
normal Kansas City life.
Right.
And I realized I had to reach out to people like you, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm so thankful for people like you that do things like this.
Well, I thank you for watching.
Well, hey, it's
The gratitude is mutual. We'll put it that way.
well, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned on the comments earlier that the most underrated skill is listening. And you've taught me how to listen, to be honest with you. I watch you, and you're able to just sit there and take in what anybody's saying, and you don't feel the need to interject, which I just have in me.
Well, as I was trying to say earlier in a different way, that this show is not about me. It's about the guests. It's about the guests. It's not about me. It's not about me to give not only not give my opinion, but not for me to even with the guests chime in and give my opinion. You know what I mean? I want to present the guests and have some dialogue, but then also let you guys decide what you think.
And I 100% appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Love you for that.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Well, so you had the downloads. So how has your life changed now? Who is the new Jason Reyes? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your last name correctly.
Close, reheist, but good enough.
Reheist. All right. So who are you now, Jason, since all this has happened?
Well, life has not changed. Life has got harder, except for I have an unconditional love for everybody and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I just am able to process everybody's different view at this point. And life is still hard. I still feel the energies. I feel everything.
Yeah.
I see everything. And that can be complicated. And it's hard to process all that. I mean, I see you and, all these NDEs and stuff. It's hard to process all that. And the human brain isn't made to do that. So it's hard in that respect, but it's also a gift to be able to have that understanding and that love. I'm able to put my hand up to my heart now and I feel something.
Mm-hmm.
Never had that before, where I just feel that unconditional love. I'll just cry about good stuff, bad stuff. I was running golf courses. Now I just have a job where I'm just a dude living life.
What
And
do you do
I'm
now?
happy with that.
What kind of work do you
Oh, I'm
do?
just like a cook, basically.
Okay.
I took a job for something to do.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I took a year and a half off. Part of this journey, and I'm so thankful I had enough money to just find myself, heal, go through some of the traumas, learn. And I've been down every rabbit hole there is. My newest thing is looking up architecture in my area. I like to go look it up, and makes no sense. We could talk about that for an hour. But it's fun. I'm not a flat earther, but there is some truth to, we've been lied to around the 1900s, and it's perfectly obvious. And I like to have something tangible for that. And the buildings are something tangible that says, wait, something happened here. But life is good.
That's awesome.
I found a community, so many spiritual healers out there that
Are
I'm friends
you,
with.
speaking of that, are you on my Discord community?
I am not yet.
Okay, so do you know what Discord is?
I do.
Yeah, so and I'm glad you brought this up. So when everybody else is here, Discord, there's 275 people here. Discord is free. It's kind of like Facebook, but different. You can post stuff, you can video chat, audio chat. I set it up. I'm not there very often. There's at least 500 people that are there. I even saw someone say in the comments today, I'll tell you something on Discord. Sign up, it's free. Then you go back to this video, and in the description below is a link to my Discord server. It's like my chat rooms. And so there's a great community there that you can hang out with like-minded people and hang out. So, if you want to meet 500
I absolutely love that.
If you want to meet 500 other like-minded people, there they are. So check that out if you're up for it.
Well, I put that in my prayers every day, that anybody that's struggling or going through a spiritual awakening and doesn't know what it is, they're able to find other people. And it's a scary process, to be honest with you. It's a lot of information to take in. And I just hope that anybody finds people that are like-minded, to understand what they're going through, because the general public is not going to understand that. And that's why I love so much what you do.
Sorry. I was going to say thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. All right. So do you have any other paranormal? I actually need to run, but if you have another paranormal story to share, I hope you come back next Saturday and share it with us.
Yes, you go. I've got a whole bunch of them. We'll talk again.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. We appreciate you, Jason, and have a great rest of your weekend, bud.
Jeff, thank you for your time and have a wonderful evening. From all of us, we love you.
All right. We love you all too. Cheers. And a round of applause for Jason. All right, guys. So that was a busy day today. We went 3 hours, an hour overtime. That was amazing. I think putting the link in actually really helped. So I'm going to keep doing that. And tomorrow's video it's every now and then, if you noticed, I've been posting old ones. And this is actually a really good video. And it's from a very famous woman. And I think it's video number 115. Look, we're at 877 or so. So that's 700 videos back. And I bet you guys are my most, I don't know if dedicated would be the right word to say, but the people who come here every weekend. And so you probably have seen this video, but maybe some of you haven't. But her name is Mary Rodwell. We talk about multi-dimensional activation, whether it's through an NDE or through alien contact. And I hope you'll enjoy the video. It's an old one, but and you can see how I've actually evolved over the last years. I think it's at least 2 years old, that video. So I hope you enjoy that. And I've got other videos. I have mine coming up for you. I wish I could tell you. I just quickly, I know I'm going to have more NDEs and other stuff coming up this week. So thank you guys so much for coming and being with us. We love you all. I hope to see you back next Saturday night. So have a great week. Take care of yourselves.